Hopefully that's not going to pick it up. I don't know if it will or not. What that is. So I'm live now, right? We're live. Yes. Live now, correct? Yes, I am. All right. All right. So what's happening? Nobody's here. I'm up. I'm live. I don't see any fucking body. Let me see what else I might have to do to fix this. I might have a problem here. Maybe a problem. Let me investigate. Let me see. Oh, I got one thumb up already, so somebody's in here. One person's in here. Oh, I'm trying to figure this fucking. There's this thing sitting kind of sideways, but it'll work, I guess. What's happening, bro? Iron Man. What's happening, brother? How are you? Oh. Mario, Canada. Good to hear from you, brother. Good to have you here. Martin, what's happening, brother? 5 years. Awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. I got this thing fixed right now so that UFOs, what's happening, dude? Glad to hear that. South Carolina. Hell yes, brother Angus. Danny Atkinson, what's happening, bro? Rock on yourself there, brother. Whisper. Draven, what's happening? Akron, Ohio. Yeah. Hostility Harris, Toronto. Yep. Akron sucks. Everybody got to be somewhere, bro. Gabriel Gonzalez. Hello, Houston, Texas. I used to live in Texas, man. I miss Texas. Good to have you. What's happening? What's happening, everybody? If I don't see you, if I don't see your name, what the fuck is going on with this fucking camera? It's like it's crooked and shit. I don't know what to do about it. So it is what it is. Actually, I guess it needs to be over here, but then that's all right, I guess. That works. That's good enough. What's happening? What's happening? Yeah, I get bored sometimes. I got to take some time off from this fucking place. It's a cesspool. YouTube Clown Tube Fitness, cesspool. That's why I got this thing set up so I can only Puerto Rico. What's happening, brother? That's why I got this thing set up tonight, so only subscribers can comment. So anybody else can see it, but you got to subscribe if you want to participate. Because I just want to do something for my subscribers, man. People just stuck with me and put up with me having such long durations, sometimes where I'll take off and won't post for a while. Nope, not worried about this large mass at my age. I'm not as big as I used to be by any measure. I'm not really that heavy right now. I'm fairly lean, actually. That's why I look so much bigger. It's bodybuilding's an illusion. This fucking camera's backwards on YouTube. It doesn't do that any other time you use it. Don't do that any other time you use it, man. Deontay, how you doing, brother? Thanks for tuning in, man. Thanks for watching. Sweet Home, Alabama. Neil. Snarling, we snarl. Well, you gave me more credit than I'm due. If you knew I'd be on time, because I'm not usually on time. It just happens to be serendipity that I'm on time. Brother Scott, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Honest to God, I do. Lone Wolf, Puerto Rico. Yes. Richard, what's happening, brother? Wind War. Good gravy. Long time. Yeah. Wind War. I know who you are, brother. I ain't forgot you. Brother Steve. Brother Chris from Ireland. You know, we got a bunch of fucking brothers from Ireland, man. Ireland nudist colony, first few days were the hardest. Huh, that's very interesting. You should make a fucking video about that yourself. That's very interesting. A lot of people probably be wanting to know what the fuck that's like. 31. Grandpa shot and killed. That fucking blows, bro. Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, I just once in a while, you know, my life is actually really good. So I got so much shit to do, man. I don't stay on here much. I'm not on here very much because I'm going to get back. I'm going to post, you know, this is me rolling back into the program. I'm going to get some videos up tomorrow and shit. I apologize for all that, but for this long time, no video. But, you know, I mean, try to look at it from my perspective. I don't make a living from YouTube. I'm far from a professional YouTuber, as you know. I'm a shitty YouTuber. And whenever I watch any YouTube, you know, if I happen to watch any, oh my God, fucking bums me out like a motherfucker. It's just so many knuckleheads on here, man, making videos, putting videos up. They have no clue for what the average person watching that's actually trying to garner information. If somebody's watching because they want to hear gossip and they want to be a man watcher and just talk about what other men are doing and all that horse shit, that's one thing, right? That LARPing instead of living, right? That live action role play shit instead of actually living. But if you actually are living and you're a regular fucking dude and you got to go work for a living and you got bills to pay and you got a real life, right? Then the majority of what's on this fucking YouTube shitness is worthless to you. It really is. It's worthless to you. Yes, I got those love jugs on that bike, man. Fucking yeah, I put them on there day before. It came all the way down to the day before. I finished it up the day before I went to Gettysburg Bike Week just a few weeks ago, and they worked great. They worked great. Bracket worked great. It's rubber mounted and shit, you know, a real hard ISO rubber mount. So it worked. It worked, brother Mike. Worked great, man. They work great. Those little fans, those fucking fans keep that engine. Looking at the oil temperature, that oil temperature is like a full 20 degrees, sometimes almost 25 degrees cooler on like a 90-some degree day where it's a lot of bikes and the traffic's heavy and all that kind of shit, congested. Yeah, those fans are engine savers, man, because heat destroys engines. It's nowhere. It's not real life, man. It's not real life. Most of these dudes that are on here making videos, not all of them, there's some good shit on here, but most, the majority, some of the most popular dudes, that's not real life. You think these fucking people, that's their life? It's not their life. Yep. Harley Davidson. Yep. Win war. Yep. Yes, indeed, I did hear that shit. But what do you expect? They're building shit now. I mean, they still can build some beautiful motorcycles, but the problem is they don't stay together so well, in my opinion. I'd like to see how many of these later model engine platforms are going to be around in 40 years. How many people are going to be running those? You know, just rebuilding them, resurrecting them, restoring them, riding them. They're not building anything really truly classic. The coolest shit that they have that I think is the best looking shit, like I saw a new Duo Glide at Gettysburg, Harley Davidson over there, and it was gorgeous. It was red and white, like the old school, you know, 1950s or even late 40s, two-tone paint jobs. It was like a nice red and cream, and the red really popped. The red was real bright, a lot of metallic and shit in it, and it had the frosted red windshield on it, a little bit at the bottom, like tinted. It was fucking gorgeous. A lot of good chrome. Harley does do a hell of a job with their chrome. They really do. Beautiful. But the thing is, it's a throwback, and that's why it's so attractive. It looks great because it looks like an old bike. Unfortunately, it's got these newer engines that They're much, much more reliable. They're much, much more reliable. They're very low maintenance compared to older engines and all this other shit. But I want to see 40 years from now, you know, I won't be around probably. I'll be dead and buried. But what bikes are going to be resurrected out of this current era that they're going to go through the trouble to rebuild and put back on the road and keep riding and shit? Are you going to really see that shit? Of course, if you have a panhead, by then, 40 more years, that'll probably be $1 million motorcycle. Low dose steroids are safe long term just for quality of life. Yes, quality of life. If you're talking because you're getting old, or you don't have to be old today, you actually have a fucked up test level. And the problem is it's hard for somebody to tell you what your test level should be. Believe it or not. People don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. If you're down 60%, average man, if you're down 60% in the past 60 years, right? If you're down 60%, let's just say you are. That's being conservative, believe it or not. If you are, then even if you come in at like 700, you might have been 1,400 if you'd have been born, you know, like your great grandfather's era or some shit like that. So who the fuck knows, right? So I think you need to be where you feel healthy and you feel good and you function well. And if you want to go overboard with it, then you know that. That's between you and Jesus. You know if you're going overboard. And if you're going overboard, you can say you're not and all that, but you know the truth. And then if a health problem comes up, again, that's you and your conscience. You know, you look at the man in the mirror, and that's why the health problem came up. You're rolling the dice. If you want to do that, go ahead. You know, that's what bodybuilders do. You roll the dice. That's what I did when I was really bodybuilding. I rolled the dice, but I didn't get as crazy as they do today. You know, but yes, long term, I think if you're just doing a replacement dose, whatever that may be, and you know your own health, and you watch your markers, and you keep your fucking hematocrit level down so your blood's not too thick. You control that. You control blood pressure, and not through medications. Not through medications. If you got to resort to medications, anybody can do that. Then that's a problem. If you're taking the testosterone to be healthier, then you need to work out these other problems in healthy ways. And then if you can't, then yes, of course, you're going to have to take medications. But it's a downhill fucking, you know, progression. Once you begin to lean on that crutch of a medication to control something that you could control through exercise and diet and through education and knowledge, then there's going to be the next thing, then the next thing down the pipe, then the next thing. So, but to stay healthy, yeah, if you're just putting the testosterone back in you, it's not like it's a stranger to your body. You're a fucking man. You know, so you don't need a ton of it. Like even right now, for me to get lean, and I'm like getting big time lean right now. I'm like getting lean. And I might not look like it right now. And I look a little, to tell you the truth, I'm flat. Now, 2 days ago, I was fucking so full, it was ridiculous. If you just see me then, you'd have swore to God I was on a ton of shit because I was all carved up. And my body, my muscles just suck it up because they're not getting it like that every day. You know, but once in a while, I'll have a refeed day, throw some carbs and some glycogen in there, and let everything swell back out. And then the next day, I'll look like a fucking beast. More vascular and fucking just huge difference. This is me flat, you know, back down, no carbs, basically. Very little. So you keep everything's good. If everything's good, blood work's good, you feel good, blood pressure's good, blood sugar is good, you know, blood glucose is good. All that shit's good. You're going to be all right. But just, you know, just understand, people always like to second guess themselves anyway. If a health problem comes along and you're taking fucking any kind of a testosterone or whatever you're taking, you know, you can swear it wasn't that, but you'll never know. You'll never know. And, you know, that Monday morning quarterback shit, you know, and you get people start saying, oh, I fucked up. I should never have done that. But you know what? You don't even know if that caused it or didn't cause it. You don't know. But you should check your health metrics, you know, as much as you can. I mean, I've had the catheter shoved up in my fucking artery all the way up into my heart, and the camera look in there and all that shit. And probably now, just in the past 12 months, shy of doing that again. I couldn't get them to do that again, but shy of that, I had everything done. Had the dye injected into me. First they did the CAT scan with no dye or the MRI, whatever. Then they shot the dye in, right, so they can look for blockages and all this shit. And I got it clean as a whistle, man. So I'm not telling you everybody needs to do that, but you probably ought to. If you can con your insurance company into doing any of these things. Let me tell you something. If you ever go in there and you think you had a heart problem or something's going on, so you need to get checked, keep pushing for more. Keep right then and there. Keep pushing for more. Can you check this? Can you check that? Can you look at it this way? Get them going. Get them going. So that they do all the tests. When I go in there, man, they love that shit. They eat that up. Oh yeah, we'll be glad to do it because they want that money. But I keep pushing it. Can you try this? Can you try that? Can you do this? All the tests I can get. All the tests I can get. Didn't get them to do the catheter again. They didn't do that, but I had that done. I don't know. When was that fucking done? It's been since I've lived in PA, and I've been up here about 12 years, and it was clean as a whistle. So yeah, I don't have heart palpitations. I don't have any cholesterol buildup or plaque. I don't have any of that shit. I have 5% plaque they calculated when they did mechanically looked, 5%. The cardiologist said, he literally said to me, I have never seen anybody with this little bit of plaque, any grown adult man at all, much less your age. He said the average, the best most people are is 20% is outstanding. He said, I would say you're probably 5%, if that. He said, you'll never have a heart attack. And I said, whoa, now I can have a blood clot and have a heart attack. He said, well, you're right there. I'm not going to believe all that. I'm going to err on the side of caution. But it's genetics, maybe, probably plays a factor. But how many years have I been preaching that fucking L-arginine, right? Because it breaks down plaque in arterial plaque, and it prevents it from building up. So I've been L-arginine pre-workout for a couple decades, and I got no plaque. So is it coincidental? Is it all just genetics? Probably a lot of it's genetics, but if it works, don't break it. I ain't gonna stop it. As I've gotten older, I've had to switch over to more L-citrulline and less L-arginine because I just can't process the L-arginine at this age. Which it's typical for older guys. 25% blockage. You better get it checked, bro. Get it checked and get it dealt with. Get it checked and get it dealt with, dude. Yeah, all kind of fucking plastics, all kind of bullshit. Lyle Alzado, you know what he died of, right? You know what he died of? Maybe you should Google first. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate you, bro. Yeah, that's that blockage shit. You need to follow up on that, bro. You need to stay on top of that. I know it sucks. But you need to stay on top of that. Get it handled, whatever it takes. Get it handled. Break that fucking plaque down. Shrink that shit. That's what it really does. Shrink that shit. At the Arnold, yeah, I only went that 1 year because it was so expensive. Could have fed like 100 fucking homeless people for what it cost. So like, Yeah, so you're on it then. Arginine, cayenne, beetroot powder, fuck yeah. Anything high in nitrates, but the L-arginine in particular, L-arginine, not the AKG shit, that's garbage. L-arginine. Well, if your blood work came out good, bro, then Dylan, brother, if your blood work came out good, you know, a lot of it's genetics, man. A lot of it's genetics too. You know, you can't discount maintenance, that you take care of yourself and you're on top of shit. That's the way to be anyway. But a lot of it comes down to this fucking genetics, man. Cat scan? Is that what you're asking, Danny? Can't process L-arginine. Right. Well, there's an enzyme, um, arginase or something. Don't hold me to that. I don't need to remember exactly how to pronounce it. I already know about it, and it's still, I'm not a teacher, right? But there's an enzyme that you need to be able to process, to utilize L-arginine, to break it down and shit. And as you get older, the endothelial layer in the arteries produces less and less of that enzyme. So without that enzyme, you know, you're kind of coming up short trying to metabolize or utilize L-arginine, and I find that I can't even tolerate it. I can't digest it like I used to either. So, you know, back in the day, I would take 10, 15 fucking grams of L-arginine at a time, powder L-arginine. That's a lot. That's a lot. If I took 10 to 15 grams today, man, I would have a problem. I'd be shitting my fucking brains out. It'd be like a colon blow effect. Back then, no problem. So today, I might take 3 to 5 grams of L-arginine, but I'll take like 20 to 25 grams of L-citrulline. See, that's nature. Just how the body reacts tells you everything. They are both to bowel tolerance. You try taking 20 grams of L-arginine, and you'll be sorry you did. You won't be leaving home that day. You know, but L-citrulline. But L-citrulline is 2 steps from the move, and L-arginine is the direct precursor to nitric oxide. L-arginine converts directly to nitric oxide, whereas L-citrulline has to be converted to L-arginine, then to nitric oxide in the body. So you're still getting that L-arginine, and the whole point to that is to stimulate as much NO2 production as possible, because you make so little NO2 anyway. But a little bit more is a difference, even just a little bit, you know, small steps to the moon. So, you know, it makes sense that I would have to take like 25 grams of L-citrulline because it's not L-arginine. Let's just say ads will run shortly for some viewers. I don't know what that means. I guess ads will run shortly for some viewers. Unaware. '61 FLH. Hell yes. Awesome name. How you doing, brother? Yep, but don't use citrulline malate. It's a fucking waste of time. L-arginine AKG. Waste of time. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? The science, right? The scientists. And I had a little fucking kind of a little tiff with a very well-known, very famous scientist, sports fucking guy that's been around forever and ever and extremely well respected. Finally, I just said to him, "What the fuck has happened to you?" You know, and start getting a little cocky. Dude, you've never. It's just good to be a nice person for one thing, but science doesn't explain everything for the second thing. So to be cocky and shit, you can have an opinion, but I got an opinion too, and we'll see who lives longer. You know what I'm saying? Who lives better? I'm 62, and he wouldn't say that to my face if he thought it was going to get, you know, something he didn't want happening. And he's much younger than me. So my shit's working. But if you look at the science studies say, oh, citrulline malate, you'll get more reps, you'll work out longer, all this horse shit. You might get a placebo effect if you believe it. Put that much faith in what another man tells you. Don't put faith in what I tell you. If you afford me any, if you accord me and afford me any fucking consideration in as far as you appreciate what I say, and you give that more validity than you would another person, then try what I'm telling you. Try it. But the true test is, does it really serve you? Does it serve you? If it doesn't work for you, you're going to know it. If it does work, you're going to know that. Right? We're not imbeciles. We've been living in these bodies for as long as we have each been alive. We are each expert on our own body. As far as we know when we feel right, we know when we don't feel right, right? The knowledge comes in when you try to figure out what to fucking do about it or how to set things straight. So when the science comes along and tells you, oh, L-citrulline malate is the way to go, citrulline malate, and then go try it. Go try it. It's fucking garbage. It's garbage. And the problem with it is now it's 2-to-1 ratio, right? So for every 3 grams, you only get 2 grams of citrulline, and you get 1 gram of this fucking basically salt. Or sodium. It's not even really a useful salt for you. It's AKG shit. I mean, it's malate. It's basically malate, right? Isn't that basically what malate is? I don't care what it is. Even if that's wrong, it doesn't matter because it's shit. And I bought a tub of it, right? Because I'm reading the science. I want to stay up to date. I'm going to try it. About a year and a half ago, I tried it. What a waste. I couldn't get through that tub fast enough. Having to load it in there twice as much to get the citrulline out of it. Consuming all this crap along with it I don't need. It's malate. It didn't do fuck for me. Same thing with the L-arginine AKG. That is just salt. Fucking crap. Yeah, the beta-alanine kind of, to me, it kind of makes me feel like something's happening. You know what I mean? If you like that feeling, if it drives you to fucking, helps you to get your, like when I'm down here, I need my lights, I need my music, which you can't have up right now because YouTube doesn't dig it. And I got to have my incense and all that crap when I lift. Once I got the mood right? So if you take beta-alanine and for you that fucking just sets the mood and it lights a fire on you and it gives you tingles or whatever and you're going to smoke it, then it's worth it, right? It's worth it to you. But there's no comparison to L-citrulline or L-arginine or even there's another one I take too now that I've started to like. It's along the same lines. I'll think of what the fuck it is. I haven't taken it very long. Agnamine sulfate or agnamine. I'll think of it. But it's another L-arginine precursor, as most of the shit I take is. The BPC 157. All right, let's talk about that. BPC 157, TB 500. Here we go again. What's the science tell you? You know what it tells you, right? What's the real thing? Does it work? Yeah. Does it work great? No. Now, if it wasn't anything better, it would work great because you got nothing to compare it to. But you know what works better? IGF-1 LR3. You want to fix a tendon? IGF-1 LR3. That blows both those fuckers out of the water. You can have all the MGF or or not MGF without IGF-1 LR3. IGF-1 LR3 is the absolute. I'm not fucking around. I'm trying to fix this fucking shit. If you got connective injury, connective tissue shit, whatever, that fucking shit is king of the fucking hill. And it does all kind of other shit too. It's all good shit. It lowers blood sugar. It does all kinds of shit. So, all kinds of shit. You'll get a fucking pump like you wouldn't believe because it plays a big role in nutrient partitioning. But compared LR3 compared to BPC and TB, no thanks. No thanks. Why would I buy any more? And I tried it. I gave it a real more than a fair shake. I tried it. But before I ever tried IGF-1 LR3, because that's been fairly recent, right? Because they had IGF-1, but never the LR3. So the IGF-1 had to be frequently administered because half-life is so short. It only works for such a fucking short, damn near momentary period of time, right? But with the LR3, longer lasting, that fucking now it works, right? So it's practical. It's practical. Whereas where IGF-1 was awesome, but not as practical unless you're some kind of pro fucking bodybuilder, right? Not as practical, but just to heal your injuries, boots on the ground, grassroots motherfucking real people. IGF-1 LR3, bang, buries TB500 and BPC 157, buries them in the grave. Yeah, wrists all healed, got a nasty ass cool guy scar, but it's all healed up. You can't really see it with this lighting, but I got a nasty fucking scar. You can't really, can you see it even? It's up here. It looks a lot worse than it is. You can't, it's ugly, but you can't see it. It's all the way up here. But yeah, it's basically healed up pretty good. It's healed up pretty good now. Agmatine sulfate. Thank you, Brother Corey. That's fucking exactly right. And I take about 2 grams of that. Black Label Society. Yeah, because he had problems with blood clots. Problems with blood clots. Yeah. Tudka. Fuck yeah, Tudka's some fucking the real shit. I like a lot of things, right? You get used to it, you build up an immunity to it or a resistance to it, so you got to come off and come back on it. You stay on it. You feel when, like I said, you are the expert of yourself. You can feel what's going on with you more than somebody can tell you. You know, you feel that, something like that. So Tudka, I'll take 500 milligrams first thing in the morning, blah, 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 right? Empty stomach. Usually after my cardio now with L-arginine and citrulline. And then once I've taken that for a few weeks and I'm not feeling the same kick out of it, I'll give it a good run. It'll be several weeks, bunch of weeks. Then I'll add another 500 in the evening. So now I'm taking it twice a day. So it's 1,000 a day of Tudka. 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening, 500 in the morning, 500 in the evening. And then I'll do that for basically it takes several months to run it out. Maybe I don't need to go that long. Maybe I should restart sooner, but I'll run it out that long, and then I'll come off of it, and I'll come off of it for about a month. Then I'll start again with the 500 once a day. But what I can tell, what I can feel from it is I can feel the stimulation in my metabolism, right? And that's from the T3 turnover. The T4 and the T3 enhanced turnover in your liver from the Tudka. So that shit works, man. But again, no matter what anybody tells you, me or anybody else, if it does not work for you, don't just keep blindly doing it because Joe Blow over here does it and swears by it. If it doesn't work for you, give it a fair shake. You know what I mean? Give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe you're not taking it correctly, nutrient timing thing, not enough, maybe whatever, right? Maybe you got shitty fucking quality crap, right? Because you bought cheap shit, and that's true with supplements. Look at cheap protein powders, fucking basically worthless. But if all that you got good quality shit, as far as we can tell, right? Good name brand shit, good reputation, and it just doesn't do it for you, then throw it in the trash, man. Use it, so waste your money, but don't buy more. What's that on the wall back there? It's one of them fucking, down here I got those gigantic centipedes, right? They kill other insects. They're nasty little fucks. I don't know why they like hanging out down here. I got a gigantic fucking dehumidifier. I mean, big, like up to my knee and fucking this wide. And it's running right now. And it pulls fucking like, I think it's got a gallon and a half receiver in there to hold water. And I empty that twice a day. So that motherfucker pulls water out like a big dog, or out of the air even. It's awesome. Citrulline is watermelon. Okay. Do you know how much watermelon you have to eat? Huh? If you've only gotten your citrulline from watermelon, because you want to get everything from Whole Foods, right? If you've only gotten it from watermelon, and again, if it works for you, that's all you need. That's the only validation and proof you need. If it fucking works for you, then it works for you. But if I'm taking 25 grams of citrulline, man, you know how much you're getting out of a watermelon? You would be shocked. Shocked. If you've only been getting it from watermelon, if you get some good name brand, high quality pharmaceutical fucking powdered L-citrulline, and you pop 15 grams of that pre-workout, you're going to shit yourself. You know? I mean, on top of that, it's good. It's not like I don't eat whole foods. It's on top of that. I eat watermelon. I eat plenty. I grow fucking produce. So I eat plenty of produce every fucking day. But I still use like Sport Formulas green powder. You know, I still supplement. You know, because maybe, well, as you get older, your ability, you know what anabolic resistance is, right? Nobody disagrees that that's a real thing, right? As you age, you're able to process protein at a lesser or lower ratio compared to what you could have processed it when you were a younger man, right? You begin to become inefficient at processing and absorbing proteins. Okay, so you think it's only protein? The body makes fucking ridiculous amounts of enzymes and hormones and pro-hormones and fucking so much different shit. And so it's not just one enzyme, two enzymes, testosterone, growth hormone. It's the whole fucking thing. It's a cascading effect thing. Everything is decreased as you age. Everything. So if you can't absorb protein like you used to, and nobody's arguing about that, guess what? You don't absorb any of the nutrition like you used to. You know, you don't extract micronutrients out of food like you used to. So if I supplement micronutrients with my whole foods, I'm making it easier for my body to get those nutrients because my body can't pull them out of food like they used to. It can't pull them out of supplements like it used to. But if I break it down into micronutrients as much as I can and throw that at my body, then it just makes it a little bit easier for me to, you know, to experience an increased amount of uptake of these substances. Half reps, keep the tension on. I think whatever works for you, brother. I think whatever works for you. I do all kinds of shit. I do constant tension, continuous tension. I do all kinds of supersets and giant sets and descending sets, drop sets. I do everything. There's nothing I don't do. As far as when it comes to training, man, I try it all. I try it all. Is this fucking thing still working, or is this thing showing a commercial, or what is this motherfucker doing? What is going on here? What is going on here? I get booted offline? No, apparently I'm still online. South Point, Ohio, what's happening, Big Al? Brother, how are you? It's working. Yeah, so half reps, brother, if they're working for you, man, then you keep getting it. We're all a little bit different. We're the same organism, you know, same thing, but we're all a little bit different. You know, we're all a little bit different. So we have distribution of fast twitch and slow twitch fibers to a degree, you know, from individual to individual, all kinds of shit. So you find what works for you, and that's really what it's all about. Gather a lot of information, try a lot of things, keep what works for you, and throw out the shit that doesn't work for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a classical martial art, right? No matter what it is, right? Any kind of fighting that you watch like that, right? Even if it's just MMA, if it's fucking jiu-jitsu, if it's fucking karate, if it's fucking anything, everybody doesn't do the same, everybody's not known for the same fucking movements, right? Or the same techniques. Out of the fucking cornucopia of shit that you may be taught, this guy's going to gravitate more to his personal style. Out of all this shit, he's going to favor this. I mean, he's going to learn all of it, just like you're going to learn all of it. You're going to practice all of it and become sufficient, right? But when it gets down to, where the rubber meets the road, the bullet hits the bone, right? You get in a fucking fight. You're going to be more, your default is going to be boom, 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 boom. You're going to find that you're much more effective and efficient at certain techniques over other techniques. Well, those certain techniques won't be the same for every person. There's some overlap, but it's the same thing with this shit. When you find something that works for you, how you train, anything, when you find something that works for you, it's good to have a broad base to draw upon in case you're missing out on something. But, basically, once you figure out what works for you, man, anything that you get beyond that, if it doesn't enhance what you're already doing, shit can. Don't use it. But it might work for the next person. So if your muscles like constant tension, then that's what you give them. If your body likes half reps, then that's what you give it. If it's going to bring you to your goal. And we have different goals. Right? So different things, different strokes, different folks. Whey powders. Brother, are you talking whey concentrate or are you talking about whey isolate? Because they are night and day different. I don't consume whey concentrate. I can't digest it. Carnivore, red meat based powder. I have tried that. Only one brand, I'll say that, because it was early on, and originally there was only really one brand that you always saw all the time that kind of cornered the market initially. I tried it. I didn't like it, but when I was really huge, many moons ago, I was a big red meat guy. I ate a lot of red meat. I ate red meat daily, a good bit. Now, not so much. I still eat meat. I still eat red meat, but it's not. I'm just as likely to go up there and eat fish, chicken. Maybe I'll have some red meat, but probably I'm going to have fish. I'm going to have chicken, something along those lines. I don't fuck with pork. My choice. I love fish. It's a shame that you got to worry about mercury so much now. Oh yeah, Tudka tastes fucking awful. Yeah, no shit. Throw some Tudka and some L-arginine in water and drink that first thing in the morning after your cardio. It's a rough drink, man, but you get used to it, Get used to it. It's like L-arginine, just tastes bad. Better alternative to a DECA test cycle. Buried the libido and not even Viagra helped. Again, it's we're all individuals, and we're way individual with that. For instance, there are certain compounds that don't do anything at all to me. Nothing. It's like injecting just oil with no steroid. When I was competing and I was fucking huge, all right, I tried Equipoise, EQ. Why wouldn't I try it? Boldenone. I tried it. I did plenty of it. Guess what I got out of it? Nothing. Not fuck all. So I checked that off. Well, I don't respond to this. So I never respond to it. Tren. I tried Tren. I gave it plenty of try. I tried it for a good while, It never Tren, the big magic fucking jerk circle. Every fucking bro has to be on Tren because every other bro says how great it is and it's a big circle jerk and these motherfuckers are, I don't know. They need to question their sexuality, man. They take them, they follow men too far. There's some suspicions there. But this whole trend thing, now for me, It works, sure it works, but it's really toxic. I can feel it. And for me, Trend didn't bring anything to the table. Physique-wise, end of the day, on my physique, Trend didn't do anything to me that I could the same without the Trend. The Trend didn't do anything like, that's why when all these guys are talking about how fucking magical it is, it's like every one of you fucking mockingbirds can't possibly all respond like gangbusters to the same thing. Maybe some of you do, but all of you, come on, man. Then you look at these guys, what they look like. There's guys on YouTube now, young guys. There's a young guy, I can't remember his name, or I'll tell you. Saw it the other day. He's a Trend guy, and I don't know what else he wants. This motherfucker looks like I looked more powerful than him when I was in Natty, and that's the fucking truth. So you see a lot of that now too, People just want to be super ripped, but they don't really have any real muscle. It's all super ripped. Throw a shirt on them, they disappear. And you don't need Trend to do that, for God's sake. Stop fucking eating. You'll get super ripped, So I'm not a Trend guy. Deca, again, another drug that never did anything really for me. As an older guy, I've tried it in light of injuries, right? I've tried it to see if it really, and I'm undecided on it. It never was a clear cut, as today, nowadays. It's never been clear cut that it's been just bang on awesome for injuries. It's certainly never put any size or strength on me, ever. So maybe I just don't respond to it like other people do, right? And it's not like I think Trend is just, I won't use Trend because it's scary. I used to love Anadrol. I used to. Back in the day, if I were young again and could go back, oh, fuck, I'd eat the fuck out of some Anadrol. Chew them up pre-workout. I had the 75 Dencals when they were fucking real. They were like a real drug. You felt them motherfuckers, not just anabolically. Your head felt like electricity was crawling through your hair, and you almost could hear a crackle of static in the air. That shit was powerful. Powerful. Yeah. So Anadrol, used to love it. Warm me up like nothing. I'll start a cycle with it, front load with it. Boom. All the things I don't want today, I wanted then. Get that hematocrit up real high, blood thick, so that you're fucking boom, right? You know how dangerous that is? But to tell the God's honest truth, we used to do that on purpose. Can you imagine how stupid that is? But when you're young, you think you're bulletproof in some ways compared to an old guy, you are. Brooklyn, Satin brother. Brooklyn in the house. Got that Italian flag pride. Fuck yeah. Brooklyn. Hell yes. Volume, lots of sets. Only thing that works for me. There you go. That works for a lot of people. Volume has always worked for me too. Carnivore for building muscle. It's meat. It's a lower quality protein as far as protein efficiency ratio, right? But it's more dense. You eat a steak, you get a ton of protein. It's not as high quality. It's not as assimilable to anywhere near the same percentage as fucking eggs or even milk. Certainly nowhere near whey, even just regular shit whey. But the thing about meat is you get a lot of these natural sterols in it, and it's so dense. It's so much protein, and it's got that fat in there, and you need that. So, yeah, you're going to get big off of beef. You're going to get big off of that. Improve sleep quality. Not really. Not really. I don't really have that hard a time most of the time. Once in a while, I'll be up all night. I'll come down here. Last week, I was standing at 4 o'clock in the morning working out, and that's when I ended it. So I had been down here. That was a marathon workout. So I was down here a couple of hours. I don't usually do that. Sea moss. Back in the day, so long ago, I can't even barely remember what year it would have been. It was the 80s. I supplemented with some of that. It was in some kind of a super food type of formula, and it was mostly sea moss. And I don't even remember what else was in it. But I was a skinny fucking skeleton of a guy, so did it help me? I wouldn't have known. When you're that young, if you're healthy, maybe today you can tell because you're so fucking bombarded with toxins all day long, but 24/7. But back in my heyday as a young guy, I was, very physically active, and training and shit. I was scrawny. In my opinion, I was fucking shredded, but I was small. But I wouldn't have known if something really made me feel super much better or nothing, even as a natty, because I already felt so good. Heavy barbell shrugs, absolutely, 100%. Barbell rows and weighted chins. I never did weighted chins because I was like 307 pounds at my biggest. So when I was really worried about mass, I already had tons of it. And I was already heavy enough to just do pull-ups with enough weight. But heavy barbell shrugs, motherfuck, I used to shrug so much weight. It was just fucking stupid. Yes. Heavy barbell shrugs, yes. Especially when I deadlift and shrug together. Fucking, I still do that. I did that the other night. Not as heavy, and barbell rows, yes. Fuck yes. I used to do heavy barbell rows, heavy. I still do that. But again, not as heavy anymore. Heavy is a relative term. What's really heavy for you? And that number is going to be going up, so there's no need to rush that, to be honest, Don't sacrifice form to the point you're going to blow your fucking back out, because you're going to get stronger and that weight's going to go up, and somewhere it has to stop. You can't just keep going heavier and heavier. What are you going to be, shrugging 1,000 pounds one day? You know what I mean? Somewhere you're going to top out. Where have I been, brother? I've been on hiatus, man. I've been just living my life. I got an awesome life, and I'm still training. I'm all cut up now and shit, so I love training. But YouTube fitness, man, is discouraging to me. I think most of these motherfuckers, not all, most of these assholes that have YouTube channels and as far as YouTube fitness, and now that I'm branching out, I'm seeing the same shit in some other things too, but categories. But I think most of them are shitbags. A lot of them are not good people. They have fucking backgrounds like you wouldn't believe. Now, I have backgrounds that has fucking some bad shit in it, but it's violent stuff. It's fucking, that kind of misbehaving and shit before I was a grown up, matured wise. And but these guys do they got shit in their background. It's like dirtbag shit. Like really, like shitbag stuff. Like you wouldn't believe it. So, and all they want is your money out of your pocket. The only time I've tried to get any money, and I monetize YouTube and sell diets or whatever the fuck, you know where that money goes to? If I get $1 out of you, I'm giving that dollar to somebody who doesn't have $1. And I'm not saying that because I think I'm better than people or anything else. I'm saying it's fucking truth. Christ, I'm lucky to get $1 out of you guys, or not you in particular, anybody, right? It's not like I'm over here asking for it. But if I sell a shirt or a diet or whatever and get a few bucks, that doesn't even put a fucking drop in a bucket of water compared to how much of my own money I put out. Not for me. My life's good, and I'm simple. I don't need a ton of shit. I already have too much shit. But for people who don't have anything, man, people that are in, dire straits that are much worse off. And if you go out and actually see what it is, right, not just on the street, but like families living in woods with children, kids are still trying to go to school. They don't know where to really wash clothes regularly or stay that clean. And bullying's bad enough. Can you imagine being a child, being a little child doesn't understand, and your parents, for whatever reason, are homeless. And that's why they live in the fucking woods and shit, because social services will take these kids away more than likely, to protect these kids if they find out they're living in the woods, all this fucking shit, right? Let's be honest. Just because somebody's doing that bad doesn't mean they don't love their children. You could say, well, they shouldn't have had kids, if they couldn't do any better, or you could say that it's probably something that's their own fault. And that may be so, but it's not the child's fault. It's not the kid's fault. So when I started to see that shit, and many, many years ago, probably, when I was competing in bodybuilding, so it was probably like 06 or 07, I tried to raise money for Johns Hopkins pediatric oncology wing, right? Kids with cancer, right? And I found out a lot of shit there that was fucked up. Like a lot of these kids are terminal and they know it. They're never going to live anywhere but that hospital. They're going to die there. And some of the kids were in the system and don't even actually have homes and don't even actually have parents. And they're going to die of cancer. And when you go in that places like that, man, you've got to have your head on straight. Because you can't be going in there breaking down and bawling and making it all about you and how it's hard for you to deal with it, because these kids are dealing with it. They're dealing with it. And you can be nobody and go visit one of these oncology wings and just visit the kids in there, and they'll treat you like a fucking superstar, like some kind of celebrity, because they're just so happy to interact with anybody else, anybody new, anybody different. You know. And I learned then. I was so fucking irritated. I tried to raise this money. I had so many awesome athletes, so many world record holders, big fucking world record holders, 1,000-pound benchers, 1,000-pound plus squatters, you know, and bodybuilders, mostly powerlifters, mostly strength athletes. I mean, some of the top guys at the time came out, and we had a flatbed trailer set up and leveled, and we had a sound system, and we had all the equipment sitting up there. I had a gym at the time. We took a bunch of equipment down and got it all set up, and it was at a fair. And we were putting on a strength exhibition, and we had one good friend of mine, been a friend of mine for a long fucking time. He does old time strongman feats. Like, you take a fucking frying pan and you roll it up, and then he can put it in another frying pan and roll that up around it. You know, blows up the hot water bottle, bursts it, all that shit. I mean, really does it. There's no razor blade or pin in a hot water bottle. I mean, he does it. You can say, well, it's a cheap frying pan. You know, it's, you try rolling it up. I can't roll it up, you know. But we put on this. We had fucking women there benching raw 400 pounds. And yeah, I know that sounds, you know, of course they're on gear. Of course. But we had one girl there that was kind of petite but muscular. She was natural. She was a natural, and she was a school teacher, teaches kindergarten at the time. And she could bench press the 100-pound dumbbells with good form. And she could do like 8 reps with 100-pound dumbbells. I mean, so had some elite people there and put this show on. And we had buckets from Johns Hopkins. They gave us these bracelets to hand out, right? So you donate $1, you get a bracelet. I'm imagining we're going to make thousands of dollars for these kids. And we're going to take the money and give it to them, somebody to manage it at the hospital for them, so they know what they really want. They know what's going to make them happy. Do they need a pizza party? Can they even have it? Do they need like a movie projector, right? A DVD projector? Do they want movies so they can get DVDs they want? Do they need games? Whatever it is that they want, video games, whatever. Let them take that money and do what they want, right? You know how much we made? The bulk of the money that we turned in, way over half of the money, was contributed by the people that participated, us, that came into the gym and met up in the gym that morning and said, hey, put this to it. Hey, let's put this in it. Hey, put that to it. The majority of money came from us, and there must have been hundreds and hundreds of people at this little small town fair, or at this mid-sized town fair. Hundreds and hundreds, right? And they were all out there videoing, taking pictures, watching. And people were going out there with buckets and, you know, donate for children with cancer, you know, Johns Hopkins, and we got the bracelets. Do you know that most people said, oh, no, thanks, and just kept watching? And the whole point to the demonstration was that, right? Now, yes, some people threw in a 20, some people threw in a 10, some people threw in a 5, some people threw in $1. But again, more than half of what we ended up with at the end of the day was from us. In-house. We got very little. Instead of being in the thousands, what we got from the people that watched was in the low hundreds. Now tell me that's not enough to depress the fuck out of you. Yep, and that taught me a big lesson right then. You know, everybody was watching. Everybody was, you know, taking pictures, videos. They're all gathered around watching. They think it's great. They're amazed. They're clapping, all this shit. But they can't reach in their pocket. You know, but they can go buy a funnel cake or fries, or, you know, that showed me something hard to understand. I was fucking so bummed out by the end of the day, everything that went into this, all the people that donated time, towing company. The guy had a reputation. Oh, he's a son of a bitch. He won't work with you. He's a really nasty motherfucker. He won't do nothing for nobody. Since I went over and talked to him and told him what it was for, he was like, "Yes, I'm in." He fucking took a tractor and pulled, a rig, and pulled that fucking flatbed down there for us, which he also donated for us to use, set it up and leveled it for us, and then they came back and got it. You know what I mean? So people stepped up that participated. So I mean, I was bummed out about that for like a couple of weeks afterwards. I was like, and the woman at Hopkins told me, she said, "I don't want to discourage you, but don't get too excited. But people, it's hard to get people to donate to anything." And I'm like, "Oh, they'll donate to this. We're going to put on a hell of a show. It's children with cancer, man. Who can say no to that?" She said, "Well, Mr. Vest, I'm not trying to discourage you, but number one, people don't do this. We don't even have a person that handles, as a liaison for these things because so few people even try to do it. But I don't want you to be discouraged. Don't expect too much. But nonetheless, I'm still thinking, well, we're going to make a ton. We're going to donate a ton for these kids." Didn't turn out that way, man. Didn't turn out that way. All right, 1 more later, you're probably gone already, brother. Take care, man. What do I take for mass now? I'm a test guy right this minute because I'm dieting, cutting down, and all that shit, and I'm trying to really do something. Right now, I'm almost up to 500 mgs a week total, and that's between Sustanon, because I like a blend and like short esters, and it's a special blend. There's no cypionate in it because that's too long. There's only enanthate, phenylpropionate, and propionate, and it's still 250 a mg, right? So I take that, and I take Masteron, a little bit of Masteron with it, and it totals about 500 mg a week. And for me, that's more than I would normally take, but it works. Triceps with dumbbells. Oh, brother, there are so many tricep with dumbbell exercises, man. There are so many good dumbbell exercises. With triceps, you can do single hand overhead extensions. You can do double hand with a big dumbbell. And you got a popular guy on YouTube saying that that's a shit exercise. Well, fuck him, because my arms are bigger than his. And he looks like nothing now that he's not a pro anymore. And I'm just an old man. You know what I mean? And I built my triceps with that as one of my main exercises. Heaviest dumbbell you can deal with, throw it up behind your head, and try to hit high reps if you can. Dumbbell kickbacks. Lay down on the bench flat and do them like this. You can do like bitch slap tricep extensions, like with a cable, like I do, but lay down with a dumbbell and do that right on your back. You can do skull crushers, right? Lay down like this and do it like this, but you're laying down, or you can do them further back. You can do, I like to do a pullover with a heavy dumbbell and straighten out at the top to pull them triceps in, right? So I'm getting a full stretch, right? So get creative with dumbbells. There's so much you can do for triceps with dumbbells. So much. Back in the day, bread and butter, test and Integral. Lots of tests of all esters and of no ester. I was a big, especially closer to competition time, I was a real big test suspension guy, just raw test. And then you got to take daily. Yeah, I love that shit. Love that shit. And phenylpropionate. Phenylpropionate was my favorite ester, either no ester or phenylpropionate. They were my favorites. Of course, a lot of things you get back then that were really good shit, it's not so easy to get today. And I wouldn't know what the quality would be today. I mean, I have no need, right? What I do now is enough for me, right? And I don't have any need to branch out and do these other things. And I like D-ball sometimes too. If it wasn't Integral, it'd be Integral, and then when I come off Integral, I still may, just on training days, chew up some D-ball. What else did I really like? I guess that's probably it. Oh, and there was growth hormone, of course. course, there's growth hormone in that mix back then. And I did a high amount of dose growth hormone for like 8 months because I heard it took 6 months before you really experience hyperplasia. This is a long time. I guess it's like 2005, 2006, whatever. Mike, brother, motherfucker, my brother. How you doing, Mike? What's happening, brother? My God. Ain't seen you in so long. I miss you, brother. Optimal Aminos. Optimal, if it's from Optimal Nutrition, that's a good company. I don't use their protein powder or anything because I already have winners that I stick with that I like. But I think that they're a pretty good, reputable protein powder. They've never been busted for not meeting label claim, and a lot of big companies have been. They've never been. Their shit's always tested good. Salute, Brother Jay. What's happening? You always keep it. Nuclei, you always keep it. You always keep it. You always keep it. And I can tell you that because look at me, you know. And I have taken, even on YouTube, I took 3 whole years off one time from 2008. End of 2008, I stopped lifting and decided to be a normal guy, right? Came off everything and was going to be a normal dude. And I took off about 2.5 years, no lifting, no nothing. And I felt so bad at the end of the 2.5 years, like joint issues, back killing me, barely straighten up in the morning when I wake up, all kind of fucked up shit. Even though my weight finally plummeted. And I said to myself, if this is what a normal guy's late 40s feels like, I don't want any part of it. Fuck that. And then it was twice as hard to come back from that. Twice as hard to push through, you know, the joint issues and stuff to build the muscle back. And once the muscle came back up, holding that spine together, holding everything together, no more pain, no more problems. But the nuclei thing, yeah, because even when I came off all that time, you know, even now, since I've been on YouTube, I've had injuries where I'll take 7 months off. I'll take 9 months off is the longest, I think. It's been on video. Or I'll take a few months off sometimes, right? But I take months off. And, you know, one was 9 months, one time it was 7 months. And I didn't look like just a normal guy. You know what I mean? In my arms, there's nuclei, you don't lose that, right? Because even when you develop, you develop more muscle, you know, you have more muscle cells in the end than you started with, right? So what happens is, and some people argue this, but the people that will argue it, they don't have any fucking muscle, so they really don't have any say in the game. And neither do they not have any muscle, but they're also not any kind of fucking expert in the field. They have no background, you know, no degrees, no fucking education in the field, no anything like that, right? So if you don't have firsthand experience and you don't actually possess the muscle, if you have the muscle, you know how you got it and how you keep it, right? And you're not a fucking a legit scientist that researches this shit, then really you're just farting in the wind, you know, telling people, oh no, I'm sure about this and sure about that, because you ain't sure about anything. And there's guys like that on YouTube. But that nuclei, there's additional nuclei. You have so many muscle cells, just like you have so many fat cells, right? You don't really lose them, not without doing some kind of unnatural shit to your body. When you get lean, there's muscle cells, there's fat cells atrophy, right? But they could again hypertrophy. You still have the same amount of fat cells unless you get like liposuction or some shit like that, right? That's why if you get liposuction, you can get fat again, but you're never going to get fat in the same amount because you don't in the same places as much because you don't have as many fat cells now, right? Well, muscles are the same way. So as the cells you have, hypertrophy and hypertrophy and hypertrophy, it's not a never-ending thing. Once they get to the point where it's more efficient for the body to produce additional nuclei than it is to continue to try to hypertrophy these cells. Now you have additional nuclei, and they're in the game, so they hypertrophy and hypertrophy and hypertrophy. So it's a long, drawn-out process, but after 40 years, yeah, I'm pretty damn sure that I would have never been able to get this big without growing new muscle cells, additional muscle cells. And that's why when I come off for long periods of time, I don't like disappear. And they say the anabolics, right, enhance the process of hyperplasia. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can imagine it is. If anabolics didn't do it, I'm sure that the amount of growth I took for that 8 months, that time when I competed, and I was enormous, and I got enormous from it, I'm pretty sure that contributed to it. So yeah, you don't lose that. I'd like to do a live stream, Mike Birch, but he's like me. He's a busy man. You know, he's president of a motorcycle club in New York City, and he's got a lot going on, a lot of club functions and training for competitions. He continues to set a new world record, sometimes 2 a year in the past couple of years now, breaking his own record. He'll set a new world record in his age bracket, his weight class, and then he'll go a few months later, he'll beat that, you know, so he's pushing and pushing and pushing like a young man. So he's busy too, but I would love to do a live stream with him. Osteoarthritis is bad, yeah, absolutely. Yes, love incline, brother Steve. How you doing, brother? How are you? Good to hear from you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's well. Hope you're happy and healthy and everything's good. Life is good. Yeah, absolutely. I love inclines. I love really steep inclines for this upper chest. I love that. If you build enough chest, you're going to have lower chest. The only time that I've ever really worried about outer and lower focusing on is as an older guy, right? Because that lower muscle, that little muscle there, you got major, minor, and you got that little strip across here, right? Looks like a fucking, what cut of beef would that be? It's not as big as a New York strip, but it's a strip, right? And that tends to fucking atrophy and get flabby and saggy and soft and underdeveloped or lose development, and your fucking chest sags. So, and some people have outer chest issues, which I started to have and I never had before. So as an older guy now, yes, I focus on outer, I focus on lower, and it came back. But other than that aside, I'm all about upper chest. My favorite upper chest exercise is, because normally, right, you build a chest, you're going to have lower chest. My favorite upper chest exercise is sitting on something like this. Can you see how tall that is? That's the top of the pad, right? Sitting on this is a hyperextension. But turn this around and it's a seat here. So sit on this so I can lean back like this, right? And on a Smith machine. The reason I use a Smith machine, and I've talked about this umpteen times in video, is because I can't mimic this with free weight. I can't get in that position and do it with a free weight. It's just, it would be awkward and maybe impossible. So on Smith machine, I'll lean a little bit lower than this pad. I'll put it down lower. I'll lean back so far, arch my back. I will get under it so that if I come straight down, the bar hit me in the head on Smith machine. And I will stay where I'm at, chest-wise. I will arch my back far enough so that I'm back there and the bar's coming down, just passing my chin, just barely clearing my chin. And I'll do sets like that. And that just brings out all of this, you know, all this shit up here. Can't see it that well. The lighting's not the greatest thing in here. All of this up here, you know, oh, well, there's no light over there. But it brings out all this up here. All that shit. See that? It brings that shit out. So you get that shelf up there. That shit. It brings all that shit out. And, you know, mine needs to be bigger yet. But I love it for that. It's really good for that. $59, going to be 60 in October. All right. Well, in my opinion, I'm 62, and that's unfortunate for me, but it is what it is. I can't change that, but I can change my condition. So that's what I keep on top of. All right, Simon, brother, I love you, man. Take it easy. Thanks for coming by. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend, man. Being sleepy on HGH, I don't recollect having that feeling back in the day, but back in the day, I was so damn big. By the end of the day, I never had problems sleeping back then. Yeah, well, I think that that's what muscle memory is, right? When people neuroscience talk about muscle memory, well, that is what muscle memory is. That's why if you train and you actually make real progress with mass gain and muscle gain, right? If you make real progress and you hammer at it for some time, it takes time. Then if you quit and you atrophy, when you return to it, it won't take you as long as it took the first time. Nobody disputes that, but people want to dispute why. Well, what do you think why? You have more muscle than you had the first time. You have more cells. Fuck yes. When I was real heavy, absolutely I had to have a CPAP machine. Absolutely. When I was real heavy, yes. Didn't use it all the time, but needed it. Nowadays, I'll tell you something else that's odd. Even when I was lean, but I was that heavy, like anywhere near 300 pounds, 280s, I was still pretty lean in the 280s. I mean, I had visible abs in the 280s. That body weight at that amount of weight, yeah, I had sleep apnea like a motherfucker, man. I would stop breathing and shit. But today, the leaner I get, regardless of what I weigh, but I'm nowhere near 280. I'm trying to be around 250, but I don't want to step on the scale too often because when I first started coming down and cutting up, I was getting harder, I was getting leaner, waist was coming in. I get on the scale, looks like I ain't lost a pound. I was like, what the fuck? But now finally, yes, I'm losing. The weight is coming off and showing on the scale because it doesn't really matter what the scale tells you. It matters what you look like, right? Muscle's dense. So I was doing a genuine recomp, but eventually that has to top out somewhere. And then on the end, you can fill back out, right? But that's just all about putting the carbs back in. At that point, it's not real. It's more of an illusion, just blowing up, swelling up with glycogen. So, but believe me, I know I might not look like that right now, but what I look like right now, this is flat. The other day, like I said, I took in some carbs and some carbon and shit. The next day, I looked like a fucking freak. I looked like, I'll show you. When I get down where I want to get, I'll stay nice and full again. Yeah, just brother, don't do anything that aggravates those joints. And get that horse liniment, man. Get that horse liniment. I like the Thermaflex. Thermaflex, it's equine liniment for horses, right? It's got a lot of MSM in it. It's a fucking miracle worker. Miracle worker for a liniment. Rub that in. Free workout. Wherever you had aches and pains, elbow, shoulder, whatever it is. That shit is unbelievable. Knees, whatever it is, ankles, whatever it is. That shit keeps you from continually aggravating and damaging it, right? Because as it starts to rub and um, as it gets bigger, right? As you aggravate it and it gets inflamed, now it rubs more. And now it gets worse. So that's why the next day usually hurts worse because you just fucking ripped it up some more. You aggravated it more. So this at least prevents that from happening. It prevents that inflammation. So you're not going to get, all that fucking rubbing and aggravating the same degree or any of that shit. And it promotes blood flow, right? So you're getting all that blood into there. And a lot of people, like my one buddy, he has hip issues. And it's all from lack of circulation. Poor circulation in his hip. So how did he get that? Because he doesn't work out anymore. He doesn't run around anymore. He doesn't do all the crazy shit he did as a kid. So over the years, that's what's happened. So it stimulates blood flow to the joint, all that crap. And if you're eating right and good nutrition, that blood's got valuable components in it that need to get in there. So I love that horse liniment. Now, if it's too hot for you, if Thermaflex is too hot, they have another one you can get that has like there are only so many different ones, right? There are like 3 or 4 main ones. Thermoflex is the shit, but it's hot as a motherfucker. So start out with a very little tiny amount, like a dime or at most a nickel size, at most, and rub that in, and you better be ready to work out. If you're just going to rub it and sit around the house, it's going to set you crazy. Rub that in and work out. It'll all be good. You'll feel good tomorrow. You'll feel good while you're working out. But it's hot. If it's too hot for you, there are other ones you can get that have a cooler feeling. They don't work as well. It doesn't get as deep in there. It doesn't have the same exact effect. But they have others. They have others. That's not the only one. But the Thermoflex, that's the uncompromised. I don't care if it's hot, you know. Yeah. Just, and I don't need to say this, but don't have it on your hands and forget and go take a piss. You'll be sorry as a motherfucker. You'll only make that mistake once. Don't let that happen to you. You don't want that shit on your nuts. You don't want that shit on your fucking shillelagh. You don't want that shit on you. You'll be over there at the sink sticking your dick in there trying to cool it off. And nobody wants to see that. Unless you're at Planet Fitness, and then it's probably encouraged. I only say that because have you seen all the dick pics coming out of Planet Fitness in the past year? Dudes in Planet Fitness flashing. One dude made a video. He worked at one of them, and it showed him with his uniform and all. Go back into a private little bathroom and jack off in the fucking sink. What the fuck? Like, you don't think you're going to get fired? You get caught doing that? How unsavory. Bad enough motherfuckers are scratching their nuts, going in there, pissing, taking a shit, not washing their hands, coming out, handling dumbbells, handling plates, and then the next person's picking them up. Gyms are filthy places to begin with. You don't need a fucking guy in there whipping out his fucking cock, you know, trying to show everybody his dick, and then walking around like that with dick all over his hands and picking up everything and shit. You don't know where that dick's been. You don't know where that dick's been. That's not the right place for that. That's the gym. It's a sacred place. It's a sacred place. How dare they? How dare they? No respect. Yeah, I train in the basement. I don't even go to the gym. I train in the basement. I'm a hermit. Gold's locker room. Well, when I trained at Holiday Spa as a young man, when I trained at Holiday Spa, now you would have a lot of dudes at Holiday Spa. I'm not going to say a lot, but how often do you see a dude? Well, I don't know. Some of these old guys do some dumb shit. I've seen that before, even as a young guy. You come in there and a motherfucker's naked where he had a shower and he's talking to his old buddies. I'm calling them old. They were probably younger than I am now. And then one guy will have his leg up on the bench. You know, he's got his leg up on the bench like this. Motherfucker sitting there like this, got his leg up on the bench and blow drying his nuts, right? Blow drying his nuts. And you're walking through there in the middle of your workout, all fucking pumped up, jacked up, fucking, you know, pumped up, fucking geared up. You're going in there to piss. And there's a dude there, he's got his leg all up in the air and he's blow drying his nuts while he's talking to his buddy. Yeah, what are you doing Saturday? You want to come over and cook out? It's like, really? Really? It's distracting, right? It takes your mind off the workout. That's for damn sure. I ain't trying to see that shit anyway. Period. Period. Some old man saggy ass nuts blow drying his fucking pubic hair. You know, but they used to have a lot of that kind of stuff at Holiday Spa. You would have dudes in there. Yeah, this one dude in there, he was like skeleton thin, and he had a big fucking neck bracelet around his neck. Not like a Native American thing, but more like an Egyptian thing, right? Shaved head, freaky looking motherfucker. A whole mess of earrings, both ears. And he would be in there all day naked. All day. All day. You first get their gym bag, go into a locker, he's naked. You go through your whole workout, every piss break, you say, he's naked. You finish, you come in, you change, or just grab your shit and get ready to leave. He's still in there naked. You're fucking, what is this dude up to? Good thing they didn't have phones back then, because you'd have figured, motherfucker, and taking pictures of people. But that dude was peeking in the fucking shitters in the cracks in the door and shit, and they finally threw him out. Now, I know dudes that are gay. I train with dudes that are gay. Now, you would never know they're gay unless they fucking told you they were gay. You know what I'm saying? Because they're still men. They're still men. You understand? And they don't act like that. They know how to act. They have dignity. They have respect. They have manners. And I'm sure they don't want to see that shit either. When do you want to see some ugly motherfucker swinging his dick around in the locker room for? No. Nobody wants to see that when you're trying to work out. But I used to see that shit all the time in Holiday Spa. I like training there. That was the only thing. It's not like it was that terrible. It's not like you're going to be scarred for life. But it's just saying the things some people do. And today, Planet Fitness is known for that shit, where they're posting pictures online of them. It's like one of them fucking, what is those TikTok fucking fads where they all challenge, it's a challenge, and everybody does it. Must be something like that I don't heard of. I don't go on TikTok. But there were so many dudes, it was in the news, they kept catching them. There were so many dudes going in there, and it was like, get a picture of yourself in Planet Fitness with your fucking dick hanging out. In the locker room or in a corner somewhere if you get away with it or whatever. Clearly, if you get caught doing that, you're probably not going to be welcome at that gym anymore, right? Because there's liability to be considered and shit. There's women that are in there, they don't want to see that. But some dudes think they do. I used to have a guy train at my gym, right? He was not all there. He wasn't all there. He had been in a horrible car accident where he flipped the car upside down, all that shit, right? Couldn't drive anymore, could only ride a bicycle. Now, yes, he wasn't all right in the head, but he came to the gym. I let him train there. I knew he had no money for a membership. I let him train there, and we kind of, I'm not going to say we took him under our wing, but we looked out for him, I let him train there, all that shit, and we're all nice to him and shit, right? Because there, but for the grace of God, go I, right? Anybody could be in an accident, something like that happen. So he used to come in there and work out. Well, then he started abusing it. And what I mean by that is, I come in one afternoon, and the girl behind the counter says, I don't remember the dude's name. Such as, let's say his name was, I don't know, Rob, Bob, Tom, Dick, Harry, right? She said, hey, he was in here a little while ago, and I think you need to talk to him. I'm like, why? He had these ripped up pants on. I said, well, I wear ripped up shit all the time. She said, no, he didn't have any underwear on, and his balls were hanging out. I was like, what? She said, yeah, he'd get on the bench, and while he was benching, his shit was hanging out of his jeans, of the holes in his jeans. Like, oh, he just wasn't aware of it. Did you say anything to him? So I was too embarrassed. And all right. So I think nothing of it. Guy's not paying attention. He wore some fucked up shit he shouldn't wear, no drawers on. And just tell the motherfucker put our drawers on to wear that shit. But then I saw him. He's in the gym, and now it's worse. He's got it ripped even more, so there's like no crotch in it. No underwear. You could almost see his fucking shit when he's just walking around. He's on a bench. His whole shit is laying on my bench. I'm like, oh no. I know this motherfucker ain't laying his fucking dick and balls on my fucking bench. Fucking dick sweat and shit. So I called him. I said, what are you doing? I said, you have got to cover that shit up. He said, and I swear to God, I'm not making fun of people. I love people. I do. I'm just trying to, it would be more prejudice of me if I would balk at imitating this guy or trying to reproduce his voice because he didn't sound like most people. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to do it. I said, you're going to have to cover that up. You can't come in here with them. Well, don't wear that in here again. You can't have your fucking balls and shit hanging out here. There's women in here. He goes, and we fucked around with a lot of chicks, right? I had this little fitness bunny in there. I'm not even going to get into it. But, this is when I was fucking, competing. He says, But I'm trying. It was McVicker. Me and Jeff McVicker used to train there all the time, right? So he's always been, he's always been a hoe handler. Anyway, he says, I'm trying to get a girlfriend like you and Jeff. I was like, you're trying to get a girlfriend? How? By walking around with your fucking nuts and shit hanging out? He goes, yes. I said, who told you that that's the way to get a girlfriend? You're grossing these chicks out. You're making them sick to their stomach. They don't even want to look at that. They don't want to see that. They're complaining to me. And he's saying, no, that is how you get a girl. I said, that's not how you get a girl. Where did you get this idea? They will see my balls and they will be impressed and they will talk to me. Like, no, that's not how you get a girl. I could not convince him. I don't know who told him this shit, where he got this idea from, that if you walk around with your junk hanging out, that it's like fishing and that's the worm and women are just going to come over and jump on that. You know what I mean? I don't know where he got this idea. But I told him, listen, I've had him complain already. You can't come in here like that anymore. And he said, that's not fair. That's not fair. You and Jeff. I said, listen, you've never seen me and Jeff in here with our dicks hanging out. It was, I finally had to tell him, listen to me. If you come in here like that again, I'm going to have to put you out of here. You understand that? I like you, man. I want you to be here. You're cool. Come in here to train. If you come in here and you're going to fucking flash people like that, that's illegal. You're going to expose yourself. You've got to get the fuck out. I'm not going to have it. Simple as that. Not having it. So he agrees. All right. Next time he comes in the gym, here he is again. Fucking dick and balls hanging out. I said, that's it. You're out. You're out. I had to throw him out. I couldn't let him in the gym anymore. I couldn't explain it to him that he understood it. I couldn't make him comply. He was convinced that was the way to a woman's heart. Well, that's not fair. You and Jeff. I said, me and Jeff are not walking around with our shit hanging out like that. Okay? You're going to get me closed down. Then you're going to run all the women out of here. They're not attracted to that. Yes, they are. I said, no, they're not attracted to that. They're coming up to me, complaining, begging me to put you the fuck out of here. They're afraid. You're scaring them. But that's what he thought. One leg squats, 20, 30 minutes taking up a bench. Yeah. I'm not drinking a whole gallon of milk now, but I am drinking I'm drinking 3 liters. 3 liters of Fairlife a day. Skim. Actually, I don't always hit the 3 liter mark. I always drink the 1.5 and then I'll go into that second 1.5. Sometimes I'll polish it off. But more often than not, I drink 3 liters in 2 days. That's what I try to do, but I go over that a little bit sometimes. Yeah, putting your dick in the sink and shit. None of that shit is kosher. None of that is kosher. Why? He wore gardening gloves. Yep, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, brother Terry. I do the fucking home gym thing. I love it. It beats everything. I'm limited, but it makes me do a lot of exercises that I can't just duck, because not that I would duck them completely anyway, but I don't have so many choices. I have plenty of choices. And my gym is mostly raggedy ass equipment and, weight is weight, iron is iron. And somewhat of a shithole, but it's my shithole, and I like it. I'm comfortable. But the best thing about it is I can control the atmosphere. I can turn these fucking flashing lights on, turn this white light out. They beat and sync to the music, and I can crank up music however loud I want because there's nobody around me for 16 acres. And I can put on some fucking incense and and get busy, make all the noise I want. I'm not going to bother anybody. Gunners. Fucking right. Get that blood sugar down under 100 fasted. Fuck yeah. That's adding time. That's adding time to your life. That's adding time to your life, man. It's adding time to your life. Let's tell you another little story. This guy, fat guy. There's no shame in that. If you get fat, you get fat. You know what I mean? You can change if you want. This fat dude, talking to a friend of mine, right? Wants her to train him, right? Write him a diet, train him, right? She does like a little package thing. And she's got a good physique. Plenty of muscle, good physique. Anyway, he says to her, one of his goals is, I want to get down to 15% body fat. I just don't have patience for people anymore. That's why I'm not on here that much, you know. I'll make a bunch of videos and I got to take a break. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of patience for fucking craziness anymore. Once you get down to 15% body fat, it's like, why 15% body fat? Did you ask him when you pulled this number out of the air? Has he ever been 15% body fat that he knows of? I mean, does he even know if he feels good there? Does he know if it's healthy? So nothing else is going to, how fat is this guy? And apparently he's really, really fat. So he's not going to be happy if he gets down to 20? You know what I mean? His goal is to be 15, but why exactly? No, here's what I'm going to say. Body fat percentage means fuck all. You don't even need to know it. What do you need to know it for? You're competing? Do you have a weight class that you got to meet? Or why do you even need to know it? You know that's unhealthy, right? Just let nature take its, get lean and healthy. Get lean and healthy. Nobody's going to see you and look at you, or you look in the mirror and say, I think I look pretty fucking good. I'm real proud of myself. I'm happy. But let me make sure and see what my body fat percentage is. No. Do you see other animals doing this? Huh? Do you? Do you think deer worry about what their body fat percentage is and all this? No. And they're natty, right? Subject to the same pollution as us, right? But look how active those motherfuckers are. Look how active they are. We're bipeds, and some people, walking is exercise. Motherfucker, walking shouldn't be exercise. Walking should be transportation for a biped. But if it's exercise for you, there's a clue. You don't have to ask me, do you think I'm in bad shape? If walking is exercise to you, maybe you're in bad shape. $5? Fuck yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate the shit out of that. I appreciate the fuck out of that. I didn't even know you could do that. Yeah, so like a deer, for example, right? Or any animal out there. Do they have an obesity problem? No. You know, dogs even don't have an obesity problem unless we create it. Unless we don't let them exercise. We don't take them out and give them exercise because they're confined or, live in captivity. If we overfeed them, we feed them trash, we feed them shit like we eat, then they have a weight problem. But have you ever gone to the vet and the vet says, your dog, I think he's very healthy, he looks great. Let me measure his body fat percentage and tell you if he's good or not. No. So what I'm telling you is, unless you're competing or something, and get real, most people aren't trying to compete. They're not trying to compete. Now, I know people that compete regularly, and they're not the be all end all. They're not, I don't know what they get out of it, right? Maybe you're a person that needs to be goal oriented or you won't do it. So maybe you need to do that. If you do, go ahead. To me, I don't see it. Can't find Fairlife Skim. Well, that blows. Down 41 fucking pounds. 41 fucking pounds, brother Stan. That's fucking incredible. 41 pounds since December. That is a fucking huge, huge win. Robert 222, how you doing, brother? Good to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for putting up with me and watching my videos for all these years, dude. But that blues can't find Fairlife Skim anywhere. Yeah, I mean, if you got an obesity problem, before you worry about body fat percentage, before you even worry about calories, right? I'm going to say this, and this is nothing earth shattering. It's common fucking sense to the average, normal, boots on the ground, grassroots person. If you're fat, if you're real fat, and you know it, and you need to lose body fat, you don't need to worry about calories or anything because you need to clean your diet up first and foremost. First thing, clean your fucking diet up. If you're eating, say you're eating 3,000 calories, okay? Say you're eating 3,000 calories. That's all you're eating. It's not a lot, it's not a little. Say you're eating 3,000. For a fat guy, it's probably not a ton, but I have seen fat guys eat way little calories and not lose weight because their metabolism is so beat up and so slow now, right? That literally, what do? We normally feed you more food and you lose weight. You begin to lose weight. So, but I would say, without even getting complicated, just on the norm, if you're a fat person and you're eating maybe 3,000 calories, right? You don't have to even add it up. You just, wherever you're eating. I'm just saying this is a proof point. If you're eating 3,000 calories of fucking bullshit, no fiber, you're eating ice cream, cake, and cookies, and all this horseshit pizza daily or whatever, right? Cheesesteaks, you're eating all this fat and all these fucking carbs and sugars. And if you're eating all that and 3,000 calories of that kind of food there's no caloric load required. It's not costly for your body to digest and metabolize and process that food. That's bulking shit. Not that crappy food, but when you bulk, what do you want to do? You want to eat very simple shit. Stuff that's not costly calorically for you to digest and absorb. Easy calories, easy calories to acquire the calories to build size, right? So you're not burning off calories. So the first thing a fat person needs to do is change your fucking diet. Stop eating shit. Start eating good, solid food. So if you had 3,000 calories of shit, you're fat. 3,000 calories of good food, you're going to start to lose weight. Calories are the same, but the expense for your body to digest, metabolize, and absorb 3,000 of the proper calories, more of that is going to come out of there as a deficit. It's going to be costly. It's going to be costlier than if it was shit food. Shit food costs almost nothing. That's why it's so easy to get fat off of shit food, right? The law of thermodynamics. And that way you can do things in stages. You don't need to know until you need to know. You can still win. You can still make progress. Stop eating shit. Get your diet squared away and eat properly. There you go. First thing, eat properly. Eat properly. That's going to take care of itself. If you can't control portions, if you start to eat properly, that's going to take care of itself. It's really hard to overeat when all you're eating is good, clean food. Can it be done? I guess it can, but it's pretty motherfucking hard. It's pretty hard. I mean, you can eat an awful lot of green leafy shit, and you ain't doing shit. You ain't racking up much in the way of body fat from that or calories even from that. But fiber pretty much makes calories a moot point in a lot of foods, right? Like I use these wraps instead of bread. No bread. I use these wraps, and these wraps are these carb conscious type of wraps where one wrap may have 15 fucking grams of fiber in it. If that wrap's got 15 grams of fiber, it doesn't matter what the carbs are in it. That shit's not seeing the light of day with 15 grams of fiber. That shit is too expensive to digest. It costs calories to do everything, and digestion and absorption and this management of these calories costs calories too. Montreal, what's happening, bro? How are you? David, brother David, good Lord. Yep. Brent, Go Bay. that Jesus, the Jesus freak, right? Powerlifting Jesus freak over there, armed in all heart. I've asked you guys to go over there and visit our brother Brent and just give him a shout out, say, hey, how you doing? Do you know that this guy is the most sincere guy? He is one of the most sincere guys on YouTube. And he just still over there plugging away from how long now, making videos, extremely motivating. Motivates the fuck out of me. And it's all good, positive shit. Every fucking video, there's powerlifting and shit like that. But the main gist of it is it's all really good, positive, inspirational shit, motivating shit, you know. This thing is religion, right? It's Jesus freak. It's a Jesus guy. You know, and you don't have to, you know, look, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in Jesus, if you don't believe in any of this stuff, you know, there's still a lot of good lessons you can learn from that. There's still a lot of good lessons there that you can learn from it. They have, you know, and the reason I know that is I have told, I don't know how many analogies. I have taken so many parables and shit straight out of the Bible and told them on my channel, and people think they're earth shattering. They're amazing from the comments and stuff, as long as I don't reference where they came from, right? Because people get that knee-jerk reaction. Don't preach to me. But wisdom is wisdom, no matter what book you got it from. No matter what book. It can be Voltaire, it can be fucking, what's his name? The guy went off into the woods, right? You know who I'm talking about? Wrote the book Walden. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm getting old. It can be anything. And it can be the Bible. But just for the sake and compassion of brotherly love and supporting a good guy that has all the best of intentions, why don't you go over there armed in all heart, man? Just drop by once in a while. Is it going to hurt you? It's going to hurt you. Drop by once in a while, show him some love. Just say, hey, how you doing, brother? Keep up the good work. Or, you know, thumbs up on a video or something. It means something to him. You know, armed in all heart. I love the guy. I don't know anybody more sincere about what he's doing. He's got a powerlifting meet tomorrow. I would love to go. However, I already have an appointment where I have to go take a fucking a riding. Actually, there's an advanced course I'm taking, and I have tomorrow is my last day, and I got to go do that. Swole train. Yeah, I should do that. It's not back, but it should be. Steve Shaw is not natural. I don't know. He could be for all I know. I have no idea. No idea. And it's hard to say that too, you know, because with any certainty, because Steve's not as old as me. And even naturally, you know how wide that range is? You know how wide that range is? Naturally. You know, and then on top of that, you have this receptor distribution. You know, and that's varies greatly too. You know. So, I mean, people believe it with gear, but they won't believe it when you're natural, right? You know about receptors, you know about genetics. One guy takes a little bit of gear, he blows the fuck up. Another guy takes a ton of gear, he don't build any muscle. There are guys that won't stop. They just keep taking more gear until they fucking ruin their health and they never got big. It's all about genetics, and well, it's all about knowledge too. They can have other shit going on, they're too stupid to know it. But a guy like Steve Shaw, you know, he's been lifting so long and so heavy. He's got a lot of dense muscle. He could be natural. He could have a healthy fucking test production still for all I know. So I ain't going to lie and say that I think he's on gear or not. He could be natty. Or he might not be. He's an older guy. Maybe he's on TRT or something. If he's on anything, I seriously don't think he's abusing anything. He's got too much to live for. He's got a fucking really good life. He's doing better and better all the time. You know, he's got a wife, he's got dogs, got a beautiful new home. He's got a lot of really awesome business ventures. He's got a lot on the ball. He's got more on the ball than what he, you know, talks about. So I seriously doubt. I mean, it might be natural. I don't know if he is or if he isn't, but he's the guy to ask. I doubt that he's going to lie. You know, I don't see why he wouldn't tell you, but I wouldn't know. Wraps. Yeah, bread is shit. Stop eating bread. Robert, stop eating bread, bro. Stop eating it. Stop eating that bread. I know it's good. I know it's good. I like bread too. I love garlic bread. Stop eating that bread, man. Stop eating that bread. Eat the wraps. And then you know what? If it's killing you, you got to have bread. Eat a piece of bread here and there. You got to live your life. You got to live. Nobody going to condemn you because fuck it. I like bread. I'm only here for a limited time. I'm going to eat a little bread. But just understand the trade-off, you know? What does it do to you? How do you respond to it? And then maybe get a better bread. Get you some of that Dave's crazy bread, whatever that shit is, you know what I'm talking about? That sprouted bread and all that crap. It's not bad. It's good. It grows on you, the real thin slice shit. You read through it, but it's still bread. It's still bread. I do wraps. You do you. No one thing is going to destroy your fucking physique. No one thing. You know, moderation is the key to everything. Because now as an older guy, my deal is grassroots, boots on the ground, fucking useful shit. Useful shit. Practical shit. All this fucking ethereal, fucking bodybuilding, YouTube shitness, fucking bullshit, that shit isn't going to help you. That's just a pipe dream, right? That's just, someday you got to get serious and grow up. If you want to do it now, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. If you're young, you got time to spare, whatever, go ahead and put a lot of life into that, a lot of money into that, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that. You know, a lot of fucking sweat equity. And maybe it'll be worth it to you. Maybe not. It was worth it to me, but I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I got too much other shit going on. But again, from my practicality, vantage point, I wouldn't deny myself anything. If you really enjoy it, you should be able to enjoy it. Just be moderate. Just don't kill yourself with it. That's all. Meat intake. Upped it. Never really changed my diet other than cutting back on sugar, and it seems to be helping. Well, that's good. Meat's a little harder to digest, and protein is the most thermogenic of macros. So every time I go to diet down, I want to turn my protein up. Not because I need it for muscle. I need more protein to diet than I need to build muscle. Because that excessive amount of protein kind of folds in on itself, and it's not efficient for your body to metabolize protein into fat. So if the majority of what I eat every day is protein, if we're trying to get cut, I don't want to be unhealthy, but I like to go like 60, 20, 20. And then that 20-20 is going to vary depending on your individual metabolism or your body, your genetics. You may want to be 15% one and 25% the other or whatever. Just saying, start out, basic 60% protein diet, 20 carbs, 20 fat, percentage-wise, right? And then adjust and dial in from there. Keep that 60% up there, most thermogenic macro. And do you need that much muscle, that much protein to build muscle? No, but it helps you get cut up. All that excess protein, your body has to figure out what to do with it. It all costs calories while it's trying to fucking metabolize that. So it takes more work to process that than it does fats or carbs. So keep them at 20% each, and then adjust the ratios from there. Maybe 20-20 works for you. Maybe that you're more susceptible to carbs. So maybe you want them carbs to be 15, fats 25. Maybe more susceptible to fats, but you tolerate carbs well. 25 carbs, 15 fats, whatever the case may be. Especially women. Some women need more carbs, some women need more fat, Figure that out. But 20-20 is a good start point. Biggest contest weight, 252. I didn't like competing, man. I thought it sucked. It was like anticlimactic, and there was no real reward to it. Once I found out that the money wasn't like that in pro bodybuilding, and once I also realized that for me to actually, I don't want to be competitive as a pro, I want to win. If I cannot win, then I'm done. I mean, why continue on? It doesn't do me good to be top 10, to be this, to be that. That's the long haul. I already had a good career. I already made good money, and I was a single dad. I needed money. So I thought bodybuilding, very lucrative, looks great in magazines and pictures of the guys are next to Ferraris. I didn't know they weren't their cars. And when I found out, that I said to myself, I limited myself. I said, I'll do everything within this box, which is still risky and hard on my body, but I'm not going to go out of the box. And I have really good genetics and good affinity for muscle. So usually I could come in and just be overwhelming, but and at least get some points for having so much muscle. But when I found out that, okay, in order for me to have a realistic chance of winning a show with some money in it, I'm going to have to do more. I'm going to have to take more fucking drugs. And I said, it's just not worth it. I have a child to raise. If I die, that just defeats the whole purpose of even trying to do it in the first place, right? Because you're not going to make any more money from the grave. And I already had a career going. So the ego thing, I'm susceptible to that like everybody else. I fucked up some things, relationships, and fucking around with little fitness bunnies and, all that kind of shit, because all that's out there. It's all out there. I was young, or younger. But I wasn't foolish enough, that I knew my priority of raising my child and being there, not dying. So I said, fuck it, it's not for me. I'll do this much, but I'm not going to, and I held to that. For me to actually win, I would have to be outside of that box. And I wasn't doing that. But I hated competing. I liked being big and strong. I liked training. I've always liked to train. I still like to train. But I liked lifting heavy weight. I liked being strong, and I liked being huge. I like just the challenge of more muscle, more muscle, more muscle. That's what I liked. Until I got, again, not going to kill myself, once I got to the point where I realized, I really do need to come down in body weight. Then I started. And I was only that big for a couple of years. It wasn't a long time. I was only 300 pounds for 2 years, and not the whole 2 years. You know what I mean? And get up, come down, get up, come down, right? So when you look at it that way, even today as an old guy, if I'm walking around as a normal guy at what I used to compete at, that's a big difference, size-wise. Because to compete at that size off-season, I was over 300 pounds, 5x5, I trained with all powerlifters, and I was hella strong. For a bodybuilder, I could have competed in powerlifting and not embarrassed myself even at my body weight. But I liked all the chasing the pump. I liked the bodybuilding aspect. I liked heavy weight, but I still liked the bodybuilding aspect. I never did 5x5. 5x5 for me would have been of zero benefit unless I wanted to pursue powerlifting. Normally, all my buddies would come over and we'd be in the gym. I had a gym at one time. We'd be in the gym and we'd have a bench press party or a squat party, whatever. And that first primary lift, I would do with them. I would train with them. We use chains. We do seated squats, box squats. We do bands. I do all that shit with them. But whatever the first primary exercise was, that's how I got on a kick. With my first exercise is going to be that with which I can handle the most weight. So that means it's usually always going to be a bar. It's always going to be a compound movement. From then, more bodybuilding, typical bodybuilding shit, right? And the weights are going to come down. So we would go our separate ways in the gym, part company, once they began to do the other things that they would do, and I would go and do my thing. And that's what I liked. So for me, 5x5, in my opinion, in my experience, I didn't miss out on anything by not doing it, because I would train more like you've seen how I train. I can't get into it. It takes too long. I've been on here 2 fucking hours. Good gravy. Time flies, right? But, pyramid up, and then to that max, 1 or 2 reps, then strip weight back to what my working weight would be. And there's a central nervous system trickery involved there, a recruitment thing, with different fibers with that process. That then when I come down to do my working sets, where normally maybe I'm going to only get 10 reps with a particular weight, now I might get 12, 13, 14 reps from that weight doing it that way. So I still got my work sets in there for hypertrophy sets, but I also, almost singled up, damn near, pretty close, a single or a double. Blood type diets, I just don't see it. I've got all my health markers under control at 62. I'm very healthy. I feel great. I have lots of wind, good cardiovascular conditioning. Pretty much my body will do whatever I want it to do, and I'm on no medications other than testosterone that I take to train, to replace what I don't have anymore. So I don't need to worry about blood type diet because all my markers are good. What else am I going to do? I don't know. If it works for you, again, it comes down to that. If you lock into a thing and that thing works, there's more than one way to skin a cat. But usually, if you look at all the ways to skin a cat and you learn them all, you're going to favor one over another. One's going to be more practical to you, or more effective for you, or more efficient for you, right? It may not even be the same exact one for everybody. But especially when you start to come into the individuality of genetics, that component. And the other thing is, if you're not going to do it, it's not going to work. So if you find something that you key in on, and that's the way you like to do it, and that works for you, and you get the results you're after, then ain't nobody needs to give you their opinion on it. I don't care anybody else's opinion on what I do. I don't give a fuck. Do you really think that I go out and I give 2 fucks about another man's opinion? Anything to do with me? Anything at all? No. No. I don't. Why? Because I'm 62. There's nobody 62 out here like me that I see in a real world, boots on the ground. No, I don't see it. I still spar with guys in their 30s. You know what I mean? I still, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just stating what's fact, what I do. So I don't need another man's opinion about a fucking thing. Now, if I'm lacking in something, if there's something I don't know and I discover I need to know, and it's not going to be this shit. If it's something like carpentry, maybe I buy another house, a piece of property, and I'm building something on it. I will have enough fucking appreciation for another man's experience. And this guy's awesome good at what I'm trying to do, a friend of mine. I'm damn sure going to be very humble. And if he's willing to give me, some advice, which I have friends that are, because we value each other, respect each other, and hold each other in pretty high regard, then I'm going to shut my fucking mouth, and I want to hear how a professional does it, Then I can. It's useful. I'm not saying that there's nobody that knows more about various things than me, and I don't realize that. I do realize that. But this ain't one of those things. Wind War, brother, back again. I am going to save it as long as YouTube doesn't give me shit about the music in the background if they can hear it. My favorite brand of tortilla wraps are Mission. They're Mission, and they're called carb something. They're called carb something. I like the tomato and basil ones. They're delicious. And I get the full-size ones. They're like 3 sizes. A real big one, then you have like a full size. Then you have small ones. I get the small ones too, because I'll throw them in a frying pan. I'll flip them over. I'll eat my burger with 2 of them. Oh, it's delicious, crunchy. It's really good. I'll do that when I'm going to do that. I won't wrap that, of course. But other things, I'll make little wraps with fish, chicken, whatever. Me and Dave Bautista, yes. I've heard that before. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I still do diets and shit. They're on the website. I don't know how many are on there, but I'm pretty sure there's a few slots on there. You know, anybody want to do a diet with me, go over there, sign up, pay for a diet. It's a meal plan, all that. I ride with you. It's all inclusive. We'll write you an individual custom diet catered to you, and I'm going to ask for a whole lot of input. And that's what I'm going to use. And then that diet's we're going to make changes and modifications as ever is required as we go to keep the production coming along. You know what I mean? But we'll have 2-week check-ins because it's going to take. You're challenging homeostasis. That's how all this is done. Any of it's done, and so it's going to take you at least 2 weeks, at least 14 days. Anytime you fucking kick homeostasis over and knock everything off balance, take at least 2 weeks for your body to try and sort it out and figure out what the fuck's going on, and try to adapt some to reestablish homeostasis, right? So you don't want that to happen. So that's why we have check-ins every 2 weeks. And then we compare, pictures, body weight, because I'm not there to track body fat, pictures, body weight, and we try to see what's going on, what's where, make progress, body weight, blah, blah, blah. And then we might keep rolling, or we might begin to roll in some cardio, minimal at first, because you got to have somewhere to take it. Or we may make modifications to the diet, switch things up, whatever, as we continue on. It's very easy if you just do what the fuck I tell you to do. It's just that simple. And I'm a grown man, and I will show you the respect to treat you and address you as a grown man. So I will call you out if need be. I'm not going to be rude and ignorant, but we're grown men. I'm not going to talk to you like, well, how did it go today? Well, you must have messed up on this diet somewhere, right? Because that's impossible. So come on, can't fool me. So did you fall off a little? Just be honest. It's okay. Yeah, I do want you to be honest. Yeah, it is okay if you do. But I may not frame it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because we're grown men. I'm going to treat you like a grown man. You're a grown man. I'm a grown man. If I fuck up, you tell me I fucked up. And if you fuck up, I'm going to tell you you fucked up. I'm going to tell you, no, you got to fucking do better than that. You got to do this, you got to do that, whatever. If you just do what I tell you, I'm going to tell you exactly what to eat, every crumb, and when to even eat it, including what you drink. And if it's not on the meal plan, you do not consume it. It's that simple. It's that simple. And we're going to go through all that. I'm going to ask you, what do you like to eat? What do you not like to eat? Is there anything you won't eat? And blah, blah, blah. And if you follow the directions and if you stay the course, only for a limited time, how hard can that be? A grown man can't stay on the course for a limited time. It's not forever. It's a limited time. At the end of it, if you give it your all, if you follow directions, you will make progress. And more importantly, you will learn how to do this yourself. You'll know how, you'll know why, and you will learn how your body reacts to various nutritional inputs. And then you'll be able to roll with it ever after. There's no mystery. You'll be able to learn as much as you want to learn, about your body. We're going to learn a lot of it together, but we're all the same organism. So I know how things go, Everybody is a little individual, but yeah. And then at the end of the day, you can say, most people make extremely good progress. It's only been this past year that half the people, they can't stick to the diet. I've never seen that before. Prior to that, 1 out of 20 people might have had problems sticking to the diet. Everybody else, like gangbusters. Some fucking people made progress that was so fucking incredible they didn't even want to quit. Sign up again to keep it going because they just lost so much. I have one friend of mine, brother Aaron. That's how I met him. We started out doing a diet together. We've trained together since. We trained together while we were doing the diet because he doesn't live far. And he went from looking like a guy with a gut on him, average, I don't know how old he is, middle-aged guy, to looking like a fucking bodybuilder. So but that motherfucker has willpower and he can commit and he has discipline in aces, in spades. This fucking guy phenomenal results, looked incredible. And that's because he did all the work. You're going to do all the work. I can't do the work for you, you know? But I will tell you every crumb to eat, when to eat it, every other fucking thing, all written down. And I'll change it as necessary as we go. As we go. And the more honest you are with me about the information I ask for, the more accurate that first initial rendition of that diet is going to be. You know? So I already know what to expect. I already expect just the first 2 weeks you're going to lose between this and this. You know? I already know. And I know why. And then from there, we're going to slow it down, because how much do you actually want to lose in 1 week? You want to lose about 2 or 3 pounds of fat. You don't want to be in 1 week at a time. If you want to retain all the muscle you can, and maybe the holy grail, acquire a couple pounds more muscle by the end of it. Whole milk is easier to digest. Whatever, like I said, works for you. I used to drink a gallon of whole milk when I first started getting big. How tall am I? Well, that's hard to say. It's like body weight right now. I don't weigh myself because I don't want to be disappointed, but because I don't want to get on the scale and be like, fuck, I'm still that heavy. You know what I mean? But so I go by the mirror. But height-wise, I am shrinking with age. I am about 6 foot. I'm over 5'11". I think I'm a little under 6 foot. You know, but I am getting shorter. A lot of that's from compressing my spine, you know, heavy weight, all that shit. But that's where I'm at. I'm a little bit, still a good 5'11", and I have shitty posture. I've been trying to work on it. I'm still a good 5'11", but I don't think I'm a full 6 foot. I might be. I don't think I am. I think I'm a little under. Yes, I prefer coaching regular guys because that's more realistic, man. That's going to change your life. That's your quality of life right there. That's all good shit. There's no bad shit involved in that. You'll see all kind of numbers should improve. Blood sugar should improve. Blood pressure should improve. You know, all that shit. Blood sugar should improve. All that kind of shit should get better. Yeah, there's full body workouts. I don't know how frequently, you know, somebody like Leroy Colbert would have done it, but Leroy Colbert was what we consider today a freak of nature, because Mr. Colbert was old school, and in his era, do you know what these guys were bringing to the table testosterone level wise? A fuckload. A fuckload. There's absolutely no way that one of these dudes could be brought to today's world in a time machine, right, straight out of them, when they didn't have all these toxins all bombarding them, all this radio frequency radiation in their bodies all day, passing through them, fucking all this shit in the water, all the other thing, right? And that guy, you would be able to, with the training methods, what we know about training today and the equipment's available, there's guys you would swear to God, oh, that guy's juicing. And he's probably, he doesn't have to be juicing, because his test level is probably maybe as high as yours is on a little juice, you know, naturally. I mean, look what we're talking about. What, 1,100 today? What's the low now? It's 2 something, almost 3 to 1,100. That's all. And that's all normal, right? But nobody could get big natural. Please. I think that people have a receptor issue today that you didn't have in earlier generations. And all the damage is lifelong. I mean, it gets worse, but most of it occurs in utero. So when you're born, older guys like me got 2 things going for us. And this is science now. Google it if you don't believe me. Google it. This is not every single person. There's going to be outliers, as always, everywhere. Generalized speaking, the earlier you were born, decade by decade, the bigger your motherfucking dick is. The higher your test level is. That's fact. And the better the distribution of receptors, because you have more testosterone, you're developing in that way, you have more receptors. Testosterone is no stranger to you. When it comes on, your body's used to it, everything's forming, and everything comes together the way it's supposed to. You don't get a ton of tests naturally without receptors. I think today dudes don't produce the same test. Science says their dicks are getting shorter, and every decade, every generation, dicks are getting shorter. And if test levels are down 60%, you can bet receptors are down. Why is nature going to give you a fuckload of receptors and a little bit of test? Other than disease, right? But if it's some kind of a damage or endocrine disruption, that's in a formative stage in utero. So if the end result is that you don't make, your body is not going to make the same test, it's probably not going to have the same receptors either. Look, don't be mad at me. I'm just a messenger. Google it for yourself. And I'm not insulting you. You might have a dick hanging off you like this. You have outliers everywhere, and you might be a young motherfucker. How do I know? I'm the last guy that'll know, and I'm the last guy that wants to know. Motivated me to start lifting. What's the story behind you getting into this lifestyle? I just wanted to get a little bit bigger. I felt like I was really skinny. I had been fighting for many years at that point. So, I could fight, and I had abs from all that training, but you could also see my ribs. And I didn't like that. My arms were skinny and blah, blah. So I was self-conscious about that. Go to the beach. I didn't want to take my shirt off because I felt like I was a skeleton. So I just wanted to get bigger, so I started lifting. And the first thing I saw, the very first book I saw, gave me any information or any inkling of what to do, was Lou Ferrigno's this big bodybuilding book, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, but it was Lou Ferrigno's version. That's the book I saw. And I didn't jump right on into it, but I read it and I learned a lot. You ate a lot of tuna fish when you started out, so it gave me ideas. Milk, tuna fish, and I got a little $50, 110-pound iron weight set with a 1-inch, diameter bar. It was a Bob Hoffman set, and it came with a little pamphlet that you unfolded and showed you all these different lifts, and they were old school weightlifter lifts, like Jefferson lift and all this other stuff. So that's what I did. And initially, I was actually so small that I didn't have a bench at first. So I had one of these big old floor speakers. I had a set of these big old 70s Pioneer floor speakers, big, solid, nice wooden speakers, right? And I laid it over on its side, and I benched off of that. That's how small it was. I could use that as a bench. And it served me for about the first year. Then I got a bench, kept on going. I liked what I saw, so I kept doing it. But that's how I did it. I didn't get weights and start working out to become a bodybuilder. I didn't do it to build a lot of muscle because I didn't know if I could look like that. And I had no interest in looking like that. I figured that was an impossibility anyway. So when you see these guys are like, oh, but if the kids don't know that somebody's natty or enhanced, then it sets them up for disappointment. Listen, motherfucker, if the motherfucker has reasonable expectations to begin with, he wouldn't be jumping on gear and trying to be all this because it's all the gear shit you put out there that made him want that. When, like in my day, all I wanted was to improve myself a little bit, to look a little better, to look a little bit thicker, to put on a little bit of muscle, a little bit of weight, a little bit of size. That's all. That's all. And I responded, and over years, small steps to the moon, as I learned more, hey, this is working. Let me learn a little more. I need a little more weight. Then once my nutrition started to get better, that's when I really started to make progress. And it took a long time. I trained as a natural for first time about 7 years. Over 6 years, maybe 7 years as a natty. And I did make progress. And to me, physique changing progress. Didn't look like the same guy. To other people today, they probably wouldn't stick with it like that naturally for that long, because if they were trying to get big and like that muscle, if they liked it, they would want more. I need to look like Ronnie Coleman or Jay Cutler or whoever. They would already jumped on gear or whatever. Or if they were going to stay natty, they would have quit because it just wouldn't have been worth it to them. To me, it was an incredible body change. To me, it was. And then everybody kept saying, you ought to compete, you ought to compete, you ought to compete. I went to a gym and was training, and a lot of guys there competed. They were all bigger than me. So I started, I did 2 bottles in a year's time, 2 bottles, 10 milliliter bottles of testosterone cypionate. That was the first shit I ever did. I did 1 cycle, 10-week cycle, and then I did another 10-week cycle. Back then, we would take 1.5 cc's the first week, loaded at the beginning, 1.5 the second week. So that's 3 gone, right? And then next 7 weeks, so it was 9-week cycle. Next 7 weeks, 1 milliliter a week, so that was 200 milligrams, right? So 1.5, 1.5, and then 7 weeks of 200. Yeah, right. That's 3 milliliters. Yeah. So it was a 9-week cycle, 1 bottle, and it changed me huge. Changed me. I got harder. I got more cut, and I got bigger. I didn't look like a freak of nature, but I didn't look like a normal person either back then. You know, it was very clear that I was in really good shape and muscular. Not huge, not monstrous. Maybe 18-inch arms, maybe. But then, you know, I was going to compete, and then I decided, you know, I'm not interested in competing, blah, blah, blah. So then I stopped again, and I was natural again for the next 6 years. But I had already taken that little bit, and the next 6 years natural. Now, I never lost that. My body composition changed. You know, there's 2 bottles of test over that year, made me leaner and harder. So no more drugs like that again for the next 6 years. So I smoothed out. I wasn't as hard, you know, and shit like that. But I really my weight didn't really change a whole lot. I didn't really lose a lot. So over the next 6 years, I think I got to be just over 200 pounds on gear. So then when I came off of that little bit of gear, I did lose some weight, but where I started out, it was like 147 or something when I started back in the day, 7 years earlier. So the next 6 years, at the end of that, I remember exactly what I was. I was 211 pounds. So I was 211, pretty decent shape, plenty of muscle in my opinion, you know, and that was after all these years as a natty with 1 year in the middle where I did do a little bit of testosterone. Then the only reason I did more testosterone is because by then I wanted to see what would happen. I just had been now 6 years natty, wasn't putting on any more than that. Seemed like I might have been maxing out at about 211, but I was lean. My diet was decent, and I did cardio and shit. And then I did a little bit, and then I blew the fuck up. And then it was a matter of, well, let's see if we can make some money doing this. What the fuck? Hulk Hogan. Good vibes from Southern Maryland. Brother John, thank you. I appreciate that. Hulk Hogan at the RNC. You know, Hulk Hogan is one of these, you know, cult of personality type of guys. He's a fucking, you know, he's made an indelible mark in our in pop culture for how long? You know what I mean? He's been around a long, long time. He's entertained. Couldn't even imagine how many people. You know, Hulk Hogan. I thought it was cool. The beard, yeah, it should be a little bit neater, but I don't get, like I said, I don't give a fuck. Powdered milk. I've drank powdered milk before. I used to drink powdered milk years ago. I used to. I tried everything, tried it all. And it all worked a little bit. You know what I mean? 4 a.m. All right, brother. Thanks for hanging in there with us, man. You're probably gone already, but take care, bro. Have a good evening. Have a great weekend. Oh, brother, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Mr. Phantasm. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, man. Listen to my motorcycle biker podcast shit. And I like my motorcycle. 63, still riding O2 FX frame Springer. Yeah, nothing's like it used to be neither, you know. It's kind of like I don't know if it's me. Sometimes I say, is it me? Am I becoming that grouchy old man that, wow, nothing's like when I was a kid? But nothing is like when I was a kid. Now I understand what those old guys were trying to tell me. But biking, that's one thing I think is it's a fucking crying shame that it's not what it used to be for young people today coming up and getting on a bike and shit. It's not out, no matter what kind of bike they're getting on. It's not out there like it was. The culture, the actual brotherhood and shit, you know, that's gone. That blows. But that's our society and culture in our society, man. It's all turning to shit. It just is. There's still good shit around, but it ain't like it used to be. It's all turning to shit, man. Fuck, people wear pajamas and shit to go out to the store in broad daylight. Now, back in the 50s, everybody was dressed. You know what I mean? Like really dressed. Men with ties and hats and all that shit. Remember all those old guys, all them old timers that had hats back in Greatest Generation and shit? It wasn't unusual. Disco ball. Got two of them, bro. They're just not hooked up right now. Got two of them in here. I got disco balls. I have some 1-inch plates that I use for some things. I don't have anything that handles them that's large, big machinery type shit or machine shit or bars, except for my dumbbell bars. You know, I got the little old school dumbbell bars that spin the fucking collars up on. I like that. I have dumbbells as well, but I like that because I can make half pounders, whatever and a half, or because I got all these oddball size 1-inch plates. Yeah, I got two little disco balls. Well, fellas, it's 10:29. It's not that late, but I think it's time for me to go fucking eat. I think it's time for me to go chow. Yeah, everybody, it's like everything else. What has happened to men? What has happened to men, man? I understand that society wants it that way, but you don't have to give into it. You don't have to believe it. The problem is the young people don't know any different. So you're growing up in a society where there's toxic masculinity, and so many of our young people believe that. Let me tell you something. If we continue down the road we're going, the United States isn't going to stay like this. Where everybody can have their opinion and everybody can have all this diversity and everybody can be whatever they want to be. I'm a cat, I'm a dog, you know what I mean? I'm a robot, I'm a man, I'm a woman, or what they can be, whatever they want to be. I'm a baby, they can be whatever they want to be. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Well, if we keep on the path we're going, you won't be able to be all that because there ain't nobody else going to tolerate that in the world. People that think otherwise, I would ask you, where the fuck you been in the world? And I'm not counting any of these sanitized, pasteurized places where they want your money so they keep it clean and law-abiding, right? Like these vacation spots and all that. Most of these vacation spots you go to out of the country, why don't you get in a car or something and go 3 or 4 miles outside of there, further in country, and see what it's like. See what it's like. See if anybody cares about your pronouns. So, and I'm not putting it down. All I'm saying is this is the best place to be in the fucking world. Why do you think everybody wants to come here? But right now we're a laughing stock, and that's not safe. That's not safe. Because sooner or later, the only thing that's kept us safe, the only reason why nobody has ever come here to our shores and brought the fight to us here, really, is because of the oceans, just logistically, that we're surrounded by oceans, right? But we just opened our borders and let everybody want to come in for the past couple of years. So you think there's nobody that hates us? We're hated all over the world. People want what we have. You don't have to believe me. I don't care. You think I'm crazy. I don't give a fuck. But I'm telling you what I know. I have been places. I'm telling you what I know. And if enough of them get in and they're left unchecked, they're going to wreak havoc. They're going to wreak havoc. And this 60% testosterone decline, that's only in first world nations. I forgot to mention that. Check the studies. That's only first world nations because it's the technology that's done it to us. That's not third world countries. Third world countries are still producing men. Men, right? So they think that there's toxic masculinity here and that's a problem. Third world countries, you don't even want to talk about some of the shit that happens and what these fucking people are capable of, the bad people. Our bad people inside this country versus bad people in other countries, what those bad people are able to do conscionably, yeah. I'm telling you right now, you don't want it. I don't want it. But most of these motherfuckers that keep saying how bad this country is, and it's horrible and all this shit, and yeah, they don't want it. Everything that they want to be and want to be accepted for, there won't be any of that on somebody else's watch if America crumbles, right? If America crumbles. But if we get to that, if it gets that bad, it's getting there. It's getting there. They're killing a lot of girls, they're killing a lot of women, a lot of bad shit going on, a lot of bad, very violent shit going on. And, you know, the news, they don't always cover all of it in the media, but they don't want to scare the shit out of people because they need them to vote. They need their vote, so they don't want them to know how bad it is. But when it's so bad that the National Guard's in the subways in at least 2 cities right now that the police can't control it, and then we have like 1,000 National Guardsmen in subways. When have you ever seen that happen before? That seems to be getting pretty bad. So if it keeps going like that, all these people right now complaining about toxic masculinity, they'll be screaming and praying and begging for toxic masculinity to come back around. Because who's going to handle this shit? Who's going to clean this mess up? If it gets to that, maybe it won't get to that. I don't want to see it. I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to happen. I want to live peacefully. I want to relax. I don't want to have all that drama. But I'm going to tell you right now, if that shit, if it gets out of hand here, people are going to wake up, but it might be too late. Might be too late. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But you see it. Go on any of your providers for your fucking movies and internet TV shows, whatever you watch. Ask yourself, how much have you already allowed to get inside of you and it just snuck up and crept in and just accepted it and you don't even realize it now until you think about it, right? Think about this. Lighting's not so good here, but it's good over here, a little bit better over here. Yeah, so think about this. How many shows today you turn on? Turn your shit on and look at it and watch your Prime, whatever you got. And watch to see how many of the top programs all have a woman as a protagonist. And most of them overwhelmingly either have a woman's the toughest motherfucker on the show, she's beating the shit out of men, every other fucking thing. Or if there's a man on the show that's a badass, there's a woman right next to him, she's just as bad at least. Now you want to talk about, oh, who's natty and who's not, because the kids, I'm talking about young adults, the kids are going to be disappointed because they have unrealistic expectations. What about all the women, all the girls watching this crap, seeing women kicking the shit out of men? You think that's real? That's not real. That's not real. That is not going to happen ever. It never has. It never will. That's not how it goes. There are going to have to be a lot of men cut their nuts off before that ever happens. You see now we have, technically, I got to be careful what I say. YouTube will shut me down. Got to be careful what I say. We have biologically born men competing in women's sports today, right? And they are kicking the fuck out of the top women in the world. Kicking the shit out of them, just mopping the floor with them. Mopping the fucking floor with them. And these guys, in a couple cases, competed as men previously, or these now they're girls, right? But as men, they competed as men, and they were mediocre at best. Mediocre. Weren't even in the top few hundred in the world. But now that they're women, they compete as women because they're women, and they're kicking the fucking shit out of them and dominating them. But yet you turn the TV on in almost every show. This woman is an elite trained fucking operative. She's a fucking tactical specialist. She's a, and this woman is manhandling grown men, beating the shit out of grown men. And she, in most cases, would she weigh 100, 110 pounds or 120 pounds? That's not happening. I'm sorry. Where's that happening? Where do you ever see that going to happen? So they're trying to squash down men. They're trying to minimize us and make us be, non-essential. Oh, we don't need men. We don't need men. Anything a man can do, a woman can do. No. And there are things women can do that we can't do. But any kind of, for better or for worse, any kind of violence, anything like that, we excel at that shit. If it's a competition. If it's a competition. Not saying there aren't no violent women, whatever. If we have a competition, yeah. Who fills all the fucking prisons? Right? Who's harder to control? Who starts the wars? Who fights the wars? Okay? Yep, men. So the elites don't live down here with us. We're the peasants. They don't live down here with us. They live up in the castle. They don't live down here. Our reality is not their reality. So if it turns to shit down here, how much does it affect them? I don't know. All right, Robert, brother. You're probably out by now, aren't you? Need to secure the border, in my opinion, but don't want to get political. Yeah, I don't want to get too political either. But reality's reality, right? You have a front door on your house. Why not just take the door off your house? There are homeless Americans out there. Just let them come and go as they please. Let them in your house. Let them on your property. You know what I mean? No person's illegal. Well, let them in. Let them on your property. Let them camp in your yard. Right? Why not? Why not? Well, it's the same thing. You open the door, let them in the country. Oh, just let them in. Let them in. Let them in. Well, why don't you let them in? Why don't you let them in? You see, people don't make the connection, don't realize that the country belongs to all of us. So it's very similar to that. So you might as well just take your front door off your house then. If you take your front door off your house, and I'll sit and listen to your argument about why that border should stay open. You know what I mean? But they're not that stupid. They talk a lot of shit, but they're not going to live it. They're not going to live it because if they really wanted to live that shit, they're saying, hey, take the door off their house. They'd invite them in. They'd let them set up camps in their yard. Please. They don't even brush up against homeless people, for God's sake, in real life. Movies that show men in embarrassing situations that get made fun of. I don't watch those shows. If I turn a show on and they have to have characters in that movie only for the sake of these social justice warrior type of fucking platforms, I turn that shit right off. And one of those things is if there's a woman beating the shit out of men in that, and this woman is the baddest thing in the movie, nope, not watching it. Not watching it. I don't even care if it's a super popular show and everybody's watching it. If it's got that shit in it, nope, not watching it. Not watching it. No. Not watching it, man. Got no interest in it. Can't relate to it. But I'm the same way with all the CGI. I'm the same way. If the whole movie's all CGI, I don't want to see that fucking cartoon shit. Get that fuck out of here. Now, if you like that, I'm not putting you down. You can do your thing. I'd watch Scooby-Doo or Tom and Jerry before I watch that shit. But I don't live in a fantasy world, right? But I guess people need to live vicariously through something. And that's a motherfucking shame. How about you be the shit? You know what I mean? Just like with all these jerseys and other man's name on your back, and your wife's got a jersey too. Maybe you bought it for her. She's wearing another man's name on it. Is your family wearing your jersey with your name on it? Because that other man, unless I'm wrong, He's not coming bringing home the bacon. He's not keeping the electric on, not putting food on the table, not raising the children, teaching them right from wrong, not putting food in their bellies, not taking them to school, not buying them clothing, right? So how come you think it's okay to worship another man right in front of your family, in front of your woman, and put this fucking guy on a pedestal to the point where you'll put his name on your back like you're his fucking property, and put it on your wife's back and maybe your kid's back, maybe your fucking dog's got a little jersey with a name on it. Well, then who are you? In that family, who the fuck are you? If this motherfucker's all that everybody's wearing another man's name on the back in your home, do they have a jersey with your name on their back? This is what I'm asking you. Why are you placing this motherfucker on a higher level than you? You're the fucking cock in that hen house. You're the motherfucker paying the bills. You're the motherfucker nurturing and taking care of and protecting. Is that guy, if somebody comes through that front door after your family, is that fucking guy you're wearing, is he going to show up, jump out of nowhere like Superman, and take care of it? No, he ain't going to take care of it. Is he going to make your house payment, your mortgage payment, your rent this month? No. Okay? So don't devalue yourself. Don't devalue yourself. Fuck that man. G-Wet clothing. I got some shit on there. I don't have any more beanies. I went to buy some more, and then I didn't get them. And I intend to do it before it's cold again. I'll have beanies because I want them to. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm good. I'm okay. Everything's good. Oh, yeah. You see what that shit happened. Look at these Secret Service. Look at that demonstration. Look at that demonstration. A 20-year-old kid or 22-year-old kid, he outsmarted the whole Secret Service, protecting a former president and current presidential candidate. Whether you like the guy, whether you dislike the guy, the whole point is, doesn't matter who it is, somebody at that level, the Secret Service is there protecting them, and some 20 or 22-year-old kid can come in and have a ladder and climb up a roof with a rifle and have been spotted earlier with a fucking rangefinder, right? And now all kind of shit's coming out. Like a local police officer, whatever department he is with, whoever he was, he climbed up on the roof and saw this guy, and the guy pointed a rifle at him, and he went back down. When have you ever pointed something like that or seen anybody point something like that at a cop, and that cop, you're not going to get some lead coming your way? Come on, man. It doesn't make sense to me. And then you had the one agent that had him in his crosshairs and wanted permission to fire. And he wasn't given permission to fire until after the guy got a couple shots off. So it's all very fucked up anyway, but at the least, it's super, super incompetence. And what do we learn from it? Well, just like we've learned that genetically born men that later on become women and they compete against women, kick the shit out of all of the women, because we see that 100% of the time. We should be learning from that. That should be a new, hey, I just learned something. This is true now. This is a fact. This is reality. It's reality. Well, the reality is at the very minimum that these diversity hires where they got to have women in some of these roles shouldn't be in those roles, because you see how that went down. You see how that shit went down. It wasn't all the women's fault, but it's just the camera did capture that female Secret Service agent and the bumbling job that she did, trying to control her firearm with all this crowd around and everything, and not doing her fucking job. Not effective. Not effective. Do you think that woman physically qualifies the same as the man that's in that job? Didn't look like it. Heckled by my peers in my younger days. Well, I was bullied in my younger days, when I was a kid. And I'm not saying that my way was the way to go. I ain't gonna tell you that. It's the way that I went. It worked for me. It probably wasn't the most enlightened way. It probably wasn't the best way. That has nothing to do with it. It's just what I did. I learned how to fight. I started, and a lot of that was luck, and this was in the 70s. And martial arts in the U.S. were a lot different in the 70s, like everything else, than what it is today. Today, you have these huge commercial schools, even people that I know that are actually very good fighters that teach. They have children. They have children with black belts. And back in the day where I came up and where I came from, and then by lineage where some of these people today came from, and they know there was no black belt children. There was no children training. There's no, if a man lined up in front of you, he couldn't line up in front of you if he couldn't beat you. That's what it comes down to. Martial art. That's what it comes down to. That was respect, met protocol. If a guy lines up in front of you, he's wearing a higher rank than you. If you challenge that man, he should be able to school you in some way. Physically, in a martial way, right? So do you think any of these children black belts? I understand. You want the kids to have something to do, but I would never, if I got a wall here, and I have considered it, and put another dojo together and started training. And I need to train more myself. And I do train. Like I told you, I still spar with 30-some-year-old dudes twice a week. But if I were to do that, there's no way. I'm not training children. I'm sorry. If I were, it would be a whole separate thing. It would be children's classes, and it would be a totally different thing. But I'm not going to just give them belts because I need to keep their interest and they need to make progress. And I'm not going to do all that. It's all that watered down, diluted fucking shit. And I came up from a place where that would be illegal today to train that way. You would get your balls sued off. But it worked. It produced fucking capable fighters. And yeah, you train so eventually you train so you don't have to fight. I get it. I understand it. I believe it. But, I did fight, and my whole course of my life changed when I beat up the neighborhood bully on the ball field one summer in front of the whole fucking neighborhood. And I didn't just beat him up. I beat him up. I beat him up to the point where, this is the 70s, where his father came over to my house and was threatening to sue our family. You know what kind of shit I got in for that as a kid in the 70s? Nobody sued anybody in the 70s. Lawyers didn't even have commercials. It wasn't even legal for them to make commercials back then. There wasn't a TV commercial, no fucking lawyer in the 70s. And when the guy's father came over with his bully ass son that used to pick on me and my brother and everybody in the neighborhood forever until this happened. And when he walked in the house, I was in my bedroom because I'd been sent to my room. And I hear him out there talking, and I'm scared to death. My mother's like, Jimmy, I knew this karate bullshit was going to get you into trouble. And I hear some, they're talking to each other, greetings and all this crap. And so I hear my father, Jimmy, come on out here. So I fucking come walking out. And as soon as I walk out the door, the guy's jaw hits the floor. The bully's father, who was probably a bully too, and it's probably how his kid got to be a bully. But my father was a big man. My father was a tough guy. He was a fair guy and a kind guy and a fucking incredible father. But that motherfucker was nobody to fuck with, and everybody knew it. I saw him knock somebody up before, a big dude. He was not a fucking anybody to fuck with. And he was no bully by any means. But he wasn't going to let anybody fuck with his family. But he called me out there, and I'm scared to death. I come out there. When the bully's father sees me, his jaw hits the floor. And he says, this is your son? My father says, yes. He said, this is Jimmy. My father said, yes, this is my oldest boy, Jimmy. The guy actually said, never mind. And he turned around and walked out, and that was the end of it. So again, I was made to feel this big, but At the same time, I was fucking relieved, you know. But the dude was so embarrassed that, you know, with my small build and as thin as I was back then, I was a little skeleton. As small as I was, and I was advanced, you know, in school for my age. So I was smaller than everybody my own age, and I'm in school with people that are at least a year older than me. So I'm smaller than everybody. You know, I'm in the same class as dudes a year older than me. So I'm way small. And he was embarrassed that I fucked this kid up like that. But I fucked him up good. And everybody saw it. And I received a whole bunch of, you know, positive reward for that. Reinforcement, positive reinforcement. And so I thought that was all good, you know. And I kept training and I trained like my life depended on it. Because to my little mind back then, it did. Everything's bigger than you think it is when you're a child. So I got in a lot of fights, and people knew who I was. I built quite the reputation, and that entire fucking my neighborhood and the adjacent neighborhoods and all through the school, and everybody knew who I was, and nobody fucked with me anymore. I still got into fights and shit, but you know, it was with bullies, and it was always with somebody bigger than me. So that's how I handled it. Nobody, you know, I got bullied a lot before that, but from that day forward, I didn't get bullied anymore. And I didn't even want to fight. It wasn't like I thought I'm a badass. I had been training about a year, about 1 year. Nobody even knew it. And most of these guys, they were all fucking ex-military back then. Almost every man was military. They were all ex-military, and we had a lot of wars there. We had the Korean War, we had Vietnam, you know, and a lot of these guys were returning Vietnam vets. And they didn't want to kid around. They didn't want to babysit. But I went and watched. Sat there and watched for like over a year, every training session. And they let me come in and watch. So I kept coming in, and they saw that I was polite and I was quiet. I was really shy and introverted, and I just watched. And then finally, you know, I had real bad scoliosis, and they wouldn't let me do it. They kept saying I couldn't do it. No, I can't do it. So I kept pestering my mom. So finally, I used to have to go to Carnivore Children's Hospital every 6 months, and they're going to look at the progress of my spine. And every time I went, I barely ducked the back brace, right? I'm already not popular. I'm already scrawny. I'm picked on. I'm an introvert. I'm a weirdo. I'm a dork. I'm a fucking nerd, you know. And the last thing I need is a fucking back brace. If I get that back brace with a head thing on and shit, now I'm really not going to be popular, right? So every time I'd be like sitting there praying, oh, please, they'd look at my x-rays and all the shit, and they'd look me over and they'd say, well, let's see. I would like to see it progress a little bit more. I'd like to see this many degrees by next time. Let's not jump to the back brace yet. Let's wait. And I'd be like, yes. Oh, thank the Lord. You know, that's the last thing I need. I'm already not popular. So one time we go back, and my mother says, doctor, there's one more thing I got to ask you, because you know, Jimmy keeps asking me to ask about it, so I got to ask about it again. He's still asking about if there's any way he can do this karate, start taking karate. He goes and watches all the time for the whole year, and I told him that he can't do it, I promised I'd ask. So the fucking doctor, I'm sitting there. Doctor talks about me like I'm not even present. You know what I mean? You know how that makes you feel when you're a small child? He says, well, I know he's been asking about this and pestering you for so long about it. He's not going to be able to do it. So you know what? Just go ahead and let him try it. And then when he finds out for himself that he can't do it, then he'll stop asking. I'm sitting there. So I have mixed feelings again. So I'm feeling like a nobody, like I don't even possess the space that I occupy. You know what I mean? And, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I'll show you. You know what I mean? I'm happy, but I'm also still, you know. And I went, and to me, it was like my life depended on it. So, you know, we trained twice a week, 2 evenings a week, Tuesday, Thursday. And then I had an old duffel bag, military duffel bag, and I had sawdust in it. First, I just had clothes in it and had sand or rocks or whatever in the bottom, trying to keep it swinging so much. And I had hanging up on a clothesline pole out backyard. And because I didn't have a lot of friends and shit, I wasn't very social, so I would be out there 5-6 hours a fucking day when I wasn't in school. I'd come home from school, I'd be out there until the sun went down. Fucking boom, 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 on this bag, on this bag, on this bag. So when I got in this fight after about a year, I didn't have any heart. I didn't want to fight. I was terrified, but I couldn't shut up. It was over a wiffle ball game. I ran him down and tagged him out. I don't even know what made me do that rather than throw the ball. It was like I wanted to tag him out. That took more balls than I ever had, but I did. I ran him down. I tagged him out, and I said, I got you. You're out. And he's like, I'm not out. That doesn't count. I'm not out. I said, so we're having a little disagreement. And he says to me, you got a lot of mouth. Too bad you can't back it up. And something in me came out of me. It wasn't even me saying it, but the words came out of my mouth and said, oh, yeah, come over here. I'll back it up. And inside, I'm like, well, what'd you say that for? You're going to get fucking killed now. What the fuck did you say that for? And I'm like terrified. And he comes walking, sauntering over to me like this. And I was literally so keyed up. I was fucking terrified. Again, when you're that little, now it seems stupid. You're that little, everything's a matter of life and death. And he comes up and he pulls back to sucker punch me. And when he does, all of a sudden things literally, you believe it if you want, but I had such an adrenaline dump that things stopped. And he was in slow motion like this, just this huge adrenaline dump. And I was like, I guess I should block that, So I blocked it, I punched him, and I kicked him in the face. He went right down. Now, he was bigger than me and stronger than me, So we ended up grappling on the ground and shit. And I had him by the hair. I'm banging his head into the fucking, because I trained in a martial art, Japanese Goju-Ryu. I know it's Okinawan, but it's a long story. Japanese Goju-Ryu. And it's a very practical fucking style. It's not a sport like Taekwondo is technically a sport. It's not a sport, And I grabbed him by the hair. I'm banging his head off the fucking, the merry-go-round things you spin around, jump on. And we're in the sand. And like I said, he's overpowering me. So I stuck my fingers in his eye. I fucking stuck my fingers in his eye. I was a fucking kid, right? And then I'm like, oh, shit. I fucking can't do this to this kid. So I stopped. And he said, all right, let me go. I said, you let me go. And he let me go. So I pushed him and I got up off of him. And his little sister, I had the hots for her in a little kid way. Her name was Julie. And everybody's there. And she's sitting up on these monkey bars, right? They're sitting up there. Some kids were watching the game. And she goes, oh my God, he's bleeding. So I'm thinking, what the fuck did I do to him? Well, whatever I did to him, from kicking him in the side of the head and punching him in the face and, beating his head against the thing or whatever, he had a lot of blood on him. And I didn't have any blood on me except his blood. So he didn't come out. He didn't go to school for like I don't know how many days after that. Once school started back up, which was like that next week, he didn't go at first. So I guess he waited to heal up or whatever, but I don't know if he had black eyes or I don't know how bad he was, but it was bad enough his father came to the house, But wasn't that I thought I was tough or nothing, because I didn't. I was still terrified of the world, scared of my shadow, scared of my own shadow, man. No confidence. Used to walk around counting the cracks in the sidewalk. Couldn't even look people in the face, man. Couldn't even look people in the face. And I didn't want to become a badass. I didn't want to get into these fights. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to write, believe it or not, I wanted to sit around and write stories and write poetry and, read, listen to music, read books. I was a nerd. Look, use my telescope and learn more about fucking stars. And it was a rock hound. I collected rocks, all this fucking goofy and nerdy shit. That's what I wanted to do. And I couldn't understand why the world wouldn't just let me be me. You know what I mean? Why it wouldn't just let me be me? But then once I received all that positive reinforcement, it got me girls, it got me respect, it got me elbow room. But I mean, I never turned into a bully. I beat the fuck out of a lot of bullies. I beat the fuck out of a lot of bullies. I don't know how many, but I still had friends that were geeks and goofy fucking kids like me that got picked on, but they didn't get picked on when we were together. You know what I mean? We walked through the halls, nobody fucking did nothing. So I gravitated to those kind of people, you know, people that got picked on. One of my little buddies used to put trash cans all the time at school by the jocks. He was so little, you know. So I just started hanging with him and letting him hang out with us. So he'd be walking down the hall with us, and nobody throwing in their trash can with me around. You know, it's not like they never picked on him again, but when I was around, they damn sure didn't. I got in a fight with the fucking. That sounds fucking stereotypical like a TV show, but I got in a fight with the captain of the football team right in the fucking, right in where you come into the school, where it's like this big round open area, and then there's different steps going off right there after school one day. And that day, I had a roll of fucking dimes in my coat pocket. I fucking hit this motherfucker so hard. Yep. Yep. So I ain't saying that was the smartest thing to do or the best thing to do or the most evolved thing to do, or I ain't recommending it, but it worked for me. Somebody stumbled upon me today. What do you think I'm going to do, bro? Who do you think you're fucking with here? You know, and I fuck with you. You're cool. What do you think is? I'm telling you, I'm not this shit these other guys are. I fucking, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. I fucking, you know, when I say these guys are shitbags, a lot of them, I mean that they're like immoral shitbags. You know, I have shit. I have a history. It's fucking in writing. It's, you know, yeah. Nobody fucks with me, and if they do fuck with me, then we're gonna see what's up. We're gonna see what's up. It's as simple as that. I'm too old to play fucking. I'm not fucking around. I don't live like that. I don't live like that a bit. I don't live like that a fucking bit, dude. Now at the same time, I don't hang out in bars. I don't go to bars. I don't hang in bars. I don't like bars. And why? Because I'm gonna get in a fight if I go to a bar. I'm gonna get in a fight. So why would I put myself in a situation like that? So it's not like I'm out there. I don't want to get into fights. But there's a lot of fucking assholes out there, and I have very little patience for assholes. Very little. I'm old. By the time you get to be as old as me, most old guys don't have a whole lot of patience for fucking stupidity and shit. There's no reason for it, and you're too old for it. It becomes intolerable, you know. But at the same time, then don't put yourself in these situations. Don't hang out where there's a bunch of drunk and fucking grown-ups acting like children, you know, that need babysat. That's what bouncers are for and shit. Security in bars, right? Because once all these grown adults get alcohol in them, they need babysitter. I'm not going to behave that way. I'm not going to put anything in my body that's going to render me that way. And I'm not going to, that's not fun to me. I'm not going to go hang out in a place like that. It's not fun to me. I don't drink like that. I like to have a little bit of bourbon here at home sometimes. I don't drink and ride my motorcycle. Not a drink, not a single drink, not at all. I don't even really ride at night anymore. I'll ride the fuck out of the day. I'll ride all day long every day, but I don't. Man's got to know his limitations, like Clint Eastwood, like that character said, right? And my reflexes aren't as fast as they were. I work hard to keep them as they are. I work hard. You know, speed bag, heavy bag, wind sprints, all those drills I do. But they're not. You know, I'm not a kid. Age, you can only keep age down so much. You're still going to have some drawback, some kind of deficit from it. So I don't put myself in situations that I know I can't tolerate. I'm not going to get drunk and ride my motorcycle. Now, I used to stay drunk and ride my motorcycle and ride like a fucking Evel Knievel. Well-known maniac. I never had an accident. But today, I guarantee you, if I had one drink, I'd probably run right off the side of the road. It's not the same. I'm not the same. I don't get drunk because I don't like it. I haven't been intoxicated in over 30 years because I don't want to be. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Plus all the effort I put into this. What am I going to water down, dilute my blood for with alcohol? I will have a little bourbon once in a while. I will smoke a cigar, I like good bourbon, I like cigars, but and I'm not putting down people that, if that's your getaway, if that's your escape, and you like to get high, you like to get drunk, do you. God knows I did enough of it. I'm not saying like I never did it, but I did enough of it to know that as I've grown up and changed, it doesn't appeal to me anymore. It just doesn't appeal to me. So it's like anything else, And I don't want to be around drunks. I don't want to be around drunks. I don't have anything in common with a drunk. There was a time I did. So, if I'm out somewhere and any dumb shit happens, if somebody's looking for a problem, looking for trouble, but it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen like that. It just doesn't happen like that. If I wanted to go into a bar and get into a fight, that could happen every night. But I don't want to, and I don't go to bars. So there's nothing in a bar I want. That's not quality to me. I don't know how much time I have left. I'm trying to have quality, not throw my time away. So if myself and my significant other are out anywhere, in fact, I'm so far that I have so much little patience with bullshit and grown men that act like fucking children that I was talking to somebody very important to me today, and I said to him, you know what? Maybe I need to be medicated. And I was told that, no, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know, man. I'm sometimes I'm a bit of an ass, and a bit of an asshole, and a bit cold and a little short with people and impatient. But apparently people don't see me that way. So, but I feel that, but that's because I've learned to look for my shortcomings. How are you going to improve if you don't recognize your fucking shortcomings? So, yeah, I don't think fighting is a good idea. I don't think fighting is cool. I don't think fighting makes you bad, any better than anybody. It doesn't, but it's kind of like being locked up, right? That whole kind of sociology. You don't have to be the baddest motherfucker in prison, but if you go to prison and you're just willing to fight, you're going to be okay. People will leave you the fuck alone. But why do they want to fight you? Because whatever they're trying to get out of you, be it a bag of chips or any other fucking thing, there's a dozen fucking guys, believe it or not, down here from you that won't put up a fight. So if you just will stand up for yourself and fight, it's like with most things in life. You're not going to have to deal with any of this shit. But if you do have to deal with it, you need to deal with it. If you're willing to deal with it, the shit ain't going to happen again. So that's pretty much the summation. You don't have to be the baddest motherfucker in the world. You just have to be willing to fight for what's worth fighting for when it comes along. Nobody wants to. You shouldn't want to. And then if you don't want to, then remove yourself from situations where you're going to, like for me, like at my age, you're not going to see me dating anybody, any chick that wants to hang in bars. If she wants to be drunk all the time, wants to hang in bars, I don't have anything in common with her. I ain't got time for it. Move on. Let your clutch out. There's a million guys out there for you that'll do that. Not me. Not me. You want to go out to a rave, go out to a bar, whatever. That's why I have no business with a young chick, right? You see all these old dudes, they want to be with a young woman. I have a child that's fucking, damn sure can't be my child's age. What kind of fucking shit would that be? So to me, I don't really have business messing with a 40-year-old woman. That's young. And I might sound crazy, but as I've aged, the women that I look at as potential partners that I'm attracted to, the things I'm attracted to have somewhat changed, or they've expanded, and the age group has gone up as I've gotten older. As I've gotten older, the women I'm attracted to are older. And I ain't putting nobody else down, man. If you're an older dude and you want to be a sugar daddy and you got a young girl, and But I'm going to challenge. What do you got in common with that person? It's fucking in common with them. We're not even born in the same fucking era. What do you got in common with that person? Chick talking about Pokemon and shit, and I don't know what the fuck any of that is. We got nothing in common. We got nothing in common. Not music, not fucking pop culture, not anything. Not anything. So I think a lot of times guys that want to be with a younger chick, it's either because dudes live in a circle jerk. You know what I mean? There's men, self-esteem is very fragile in men. And so when you start to program men, they're easy to program, believe it or not. And again, not every man. So that's what I'm saying. Don't let them program you. Don't let them program you. Dudes will do something in groups. This guy does it, and I think he's cool, and I want him to think I'm cool, so I'm going to do it. And this doesn't make any sense. And they're like that with women. How many guys go their whole lives before they figure out what they're even attracted to? Because up to now, they've only been going with the woman that their friends think is hot, or that they're going to get a thumbs up from. Who's sleeping with this chick? You or these people? Who's the man? You or them? I'm the man. In my world, in my life, you need to be the protagonist in your own fucking life story. You need to be the hero in your own life story. You need to be the star of your own life story. You need to be the leading fucking man in your own life story. Simple as that. So you don't need a guy like Wes Watson to talk to you like you're a bitch. You know how long this motherfucker would speak to me like that? And I ain't trying to talk shit because we ain't got any reason to be speaking. But we got nothing in common. Because the things he values, as far as I'm concerned, aren't even adult things. So, because you're never going to see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it, for one thing. So I'm not saying you need to be a pauper, but you need to really figure out what is really important in life. Where are you going to derive happiness from? All the shit? I've got shit in boxes over there that have never even been opened, and I've been in this house 3 years now. So if I haven't opened any of them boxes, how important is that shit to me in 3 years? Do I need it? I might only have 3 more years. Maybe I'll never open those boxes again. So did I need that shit? Do I need that shit? No. I know what makes me happy. I have several motorcycles. Some people would say, well, that's extravagant. That's crazy. All those I used to have a lot of guitars. Well, a lot of people are going to say, well, that's extravagant. That's great. So it's what makes you happy, whatever that is. But all the other typical shit, it doesn't, to me, happiness doesn't rest in that. And this Wes Watson fucking con man, he's telling you, oh, if you ain't got a bad bitch and you ain't got the, by who's deciding what a bad bitch is? What measuring stick are we using to determine how bad somebody's bitch is? You know what I mean? What, you need his permission? If he doesn't think you've got a bad bitch, then your chick ain't shit? Really? If you feel that way, if you say, oh yeah, well if you feel that way, you're trying to defend that, you need to go have a talk in the mirror with you before you waste any more of your life and go out and have what you really want for happiness' sake. And it doesn't matter if Joe Blow over here, if he wants what you have. Or it doesn't matter if Joe Blow over here is envious of what you have or not. Because ultimately, the best that any man will ever have is a high quality of life and self-satisfaction and comfort, being comfortable in his own skin and happiness. Because life isn't forever. You only have so much fucking time, folks. You have so much time, man. And that's it. And nobody knows when that end date is. So don't prolong it and put it off and wait. Find what makes you happy and do that. And do that. Find what makes you happy and do that, and don't wait for another man's permission or nod. No. If the other motherfucker was that much of a man to begin with, he don't have any necessity to feel like he's somebody to give you the nod or give you permission to do any fucking thing. We can all share ideas, and we can all learn from each other. But ultimately, you're the star of your own life. As far as you know, everything you see and everything you do and everything you smell and eat and touch every day is only here for you. And none of this else is reality. I'm not reality. None of the people you see, the animals that treat, none of it's reality. It's all staging for you. That's all you know from your perspective. And that's the truth, because when you cease to be, maybe all this ceases to be. You don't know any different. So maybe every one of us are in our own little bubble. And all of this, we are all just supporting cast for you, for the subject. You're the subject. You're the protagonist. You're the star of your own life. So be that. Be that. Don't wait for another man to give you permission to do anything. Well, if your bitch ain't this, you ain't got a bad bitch, and you ain't. If I'm the guy to rate people's women, which I'm not, right? Because there's an ass for every seat. His chick, to me, that's not hot. So whatever. You do you, I'll do me. And if we're two passing ships at some point to bump into each other, you be polite and I'll be the same. Be polite, be amicable, be respectful, and I'll be the same. Simple as that. It's very simple. Very simple. Oh, we were doing something indecent at an area other than your house and somebody saw the act. Oh my God, I'd be mortified to death, dude. I'd be mortified to death. I'd be mortified to death. And I would feel bad because I put my woman in that situation that she can be observed or entertainment to somebody else. That's a man don't behave that way. So if I did something like that, I would feel like shit. I would feel like pure shit. Oh, I didn't understand that at all, bro. You're out doing the dirty in public somewhere and got caught. I don't know, dude. That's embarrassing, bro. That's embarrassing. That's an embarrassing thing. But I'm not going to sit here and say I've never had sex outside somewhere before. I have, but not nowadays. I mean, when I was a lot younger and more reckless. But if I'd ever gotten caught like that, that would have been so embarrassing. Oh my God. So embarrassing. I don't know. I had no advice for that. That's terrible. It's embarrassing. Yeah, here's another thing to consider too, right? As an old guy, I'll say this. At 62, the dudes that were assholes in school or that were growing up, they were kind of dicks. When I come across any of these people now, if and when I do, they're on death's door, man. They look like, as far as I'm concerned, they look like you need one of them chairs that stands you up and shit and all that crap. Yeah. And it's like, hey, I'm still out here banging. How you doing? Karma, it's a bitch. Oh yeah, well it's gotten bad today. If you want to go out in bars and young guys, I went out in bars and shit a lot when I was younger. If I got in fights. If if you're out somewhere and some motherfucker is asking for it, I mean he's asking for it, and I have seen it happen. I have seen it happen intimately close to me. I have seen it happen. I know it's not a lie. It's truth. I know what I'm telling you. It doesn't matter how bad the motherfucker wants it. It doesn't matter how tough and what a tough guy. And he beats the shit out of all these other people and he's, this and that. If he pushes you and you do your thing and you get the best of him and you hurt that motherfucker, and God forbid you put this motherfucker out of work for a little bit, you break his jaw or some shit and his wire shut for a few months, any shit like that, you're the one that's going to pay for it. Doesn't matter he begged for it. You're going to pay for it. You're going to get arrested. He's going to fucking press charges, and you're going to have to pay medical bills for it. A very good friend of mine. I told him that's what it was, and this was over a decade ago now. And damn if it didn't happen to him. And the motherfucker that started fighting with him was a big 250-pound fucking body built fucking wrestler, and this guy was known to stay stone sober and go out to bars and beat the fuck out of some guy that's been drinking all night. He just got off on it. He just went out and did it all the time on a regular. And he's associated with a huge college, and they know it happens, and they get behind him and pay for the lawyers and defend him every time. He's done it several times. Ran into a very, very good friend of mine. And it happened, and it was such a huge fucking fight that they even tried to sue the police department because the cops were watching the fight rather than breaking it up when they got there. And they both beat the shit out of each other, but my buddy stretched this motherfucker out 3 different times and tried to walk away. He kept getting up. So the third time, he made sure he wasn't getting up again. And then what happens? He gets arrested. He gets sued. He has to pay, I don't know how many years. As far as I know, he might still be paying that motherfucking asshole's medical bills. He had to pay this motherfucker, I don't know, it was a couple $100 a fucking month for I don't know how many years. Yeah. And then after that, the dude saw him somewhere and tried to be cool with him. And he was like, I'm not shaking your hand. Get the fuck away from me. So it isn't worth it, dudes. It is not worth it. If you're going to hang in these bars and all that shit, and maybe you go out to meet women or whatever, you're a young guy, I understand it. But if somebody asks for it and you give it to them, because a lot of guys will always say like, oh, I got something for that guy. Well, if that happened to me, I'm a 2A guy. That's all fine and dandy. But you know what? That's the end of it all if you do that. If it comes to that, you're better off to learn to avoid that. Stay out of those situations. If you do that, it doesn't matter. He's the bad guy. Odds are, more than likely, in this society, you're going to get crucified for it. And then you're not going to be there for your family if you got a family. You're not going to be there for your kids. You're not going to be. You're going to be locked the fuck up, most likely. Or you're going to have this fucking financial hardship paying for this asshole's medical bills. I own several motorcycles. Do you watch the channel? Is James still on trend? Where do you children come from? You psychological children. Where do you guys come from? I know society just spits you out, shits you out every single day, right? How do you move through the world like that without manning up and being an adult? How old are you? Like, for 2 reasons. For one, if you think everybody's on trend, you're a fucking imbecile. And you'll believe anything. And you believe the programming. People can tell you anything and you're going to suck it up. Like a little lapdog and believe it, right? Either because you're bitter and can't get big yourself, or you're just a troll. How are you a troll? This is for my subscribers only. I don't need your 2 cents. If I was worried about money, I would have it open to everybody. But it's only open to my subscribers. The dickheads can watch, but they can't comment. But if you're amongst them, then we'll just have to unsubscribe you. So let's see. I'm not in the mood for it. Too old for it. Take that nonsense down the road. Put them in timeout. Wow, put somebody in timeout. I'm gonna put your ass in timeout just because it's like a child thing to do, like you would do to a little kid. So I'm gonna do that to you, wild ass Taliban. That's a real adult name. Yeah, I can see that. Don't put your fucking ass in timeout. 5 minutes. Yeah, I put you on for 5 minutes. All right. No, I didn't know YouTube had that. Delete it. I didn't delete it. I put him in timeout. What happened? He's in timeout. All right, he's in timeout. Yep, it's messed up, man. The assholes, man, they cause a lot of fucking chaos for everybody. Cause a lot of chaos for everybody. You can't give them what they deserve. You know what I mean? Almost nowadays, I'm not advocating this. You're almost better off just to catch them out back of somewhere where they come out of work and wear a mask and shit and just work them over them with a bat or something. You're almost better to do that, not because you're afraid to step to them, but because when you beat this dumb person's ass, he's going to press charges. So if he wants it that bad, fuck it. I'm not trying to go down with the ship. If you got to give it to him, throw a mask on. I'm not advocating this. I'm talking fairy tale fantasy land here. I wouldn't do this, but you would expect people might resort to that. You wouldn't be surprised. You know? Yeah, anonymous. Yeah. It's not what they know, it's what they can prove. But I'm not advocating that because that's wrong. To advocate anything like that would be terrible, bad, especially in this fucking platform. And not welcome, that's for sure. That's for sure. They don't want you doing that on this platform, and I understand. I agree. Here. All right, 11:28. Why the fuck am I still awake? I got to go wind down watching TV. I got too much energy. You know that, guys? I have too much energy. Been here 3.5 hours. Ain't nobody going to watch this if I leave it up. It's 3.5 hours long. I wouldn't watch it. Anyway, I love y'all. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. It's been a fun night. I had no assholes. I only had one guy make a comment. It wasn't even that terrible, but it seemed like a dickhead thing. So fuck it, I put him in timeout like a little child. Set him over in the corner with a dunce cap on. Set him in the corner with a dunce cap on. Come by anytime. You know. Bring that childish shit. What's his name? Wild as Taliban. How old is this fucking kid, right? Look, he's got what's he got there? What is that? He's got some kind of thing on his channel. It's another man. This man worship thing, I think. He's got a fucking guy as his avatar. Another man as his avatar and shit. Must be awful. Must be awful self-satisfying to be him, to be you. Come by anytime. I'll be glad to put you in time out and sit you on the stool. Sit that ass on the stool. And if you were here in real life, I would sit that ass on that stool for sure. Absolutely, I'd sit that little ass on that stool. You would sit there. I'd treat you real bad then. I'd tie you up, gag you if you wouldn't shut the fuck up. Make you eat dog food, put you on a leash. You don't know what'll happen. You don't know what. You come around and find out if you want. Come around and try it. Of course, if I did too much bad shit to you, then you'd have to disappear because I can't have that coming back. You know. Of course, I'm joking. Humor. Of course, I would never do anything like that. That's horrible shit. It's all bad. I'd never do anything like that. Come on. Give me more credit than that. All right, guys. I love y'all. Thanks for coming around. Thanks for hanging out with my boring old ass. Have an awesome evening. Mandy, glad to see you, James. You remind me of my dad. Well, thank you. I will take that as a compliment. I am a dad. So, of course, mine's all grown up. Well, I'm still a dad, but I was an actual dad. Good night. Pleasant dreams. Sleep tight. Don't forget to eat your protons. All right, you guys. It's been fun. I might do this again just because it was fun. But I'm going to keep it this way. Subscribers can comment. Everybody else can watch if you feel like watching, but you can't comment. And if one slips through and you're actually subscribed, but you're a dickhead, I don't need you. I don't. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'll just unsub you or ban you or something. Because I can't get my fucking hands on you, right? Can't get my hands on you, so it's all I can do. It's all I can do. I can't bitch slap you. But come on. You can look at me and see I'm not that type of guy, right? I'm pacifist. I'm just a pussycat. I wouldn't really want to do that. I might sit you down and try to reason with you. Yeah. It's good to see all you all too, man. I don't know. I may do this again soon. I kind of liked it. Everybody, we had a good time. Everybody's cool. I dug it. All right, y'all. Have an awesome night. I appreciate you. Take care of yourselves. Have a fucking fantastic fucking weekend. Right? Go out and get you some loving. You know what I mean? Do something making you happy this weekend. Spread your fucking wings and fly. Right? You guys take care, man. I'll talk to you again soon, I hope. Peace out. Have a dynamite evening. God bless. How do you end this shit? Right there, I think.